Hello, everyone, and welcome to Forza Horizon 5. Yes, I'm going to. This was. I say the idea of this series is going to be a live stream series. I'm going to be building some cars to run up the Hot Wheels hill climb stage that I created a little while ago. Well done, anyone who remembers it. We did actually use it for a tournament as well. It has one of the more ridiculous corners that. That I've ever built, really. It's got the most ridiculous vertical hairpin. We shall see how some vehicles fare that get built here to run up the course. The Sport Classic is the car that leads the table. There are only two things that have gone through it. The Hot Wheels Diora and this one. I'm not sure what we're going to end up seeing today, because, as ever when it comes to building cars in Forza games, sometimes unusual things work, and sometimes expected things are terrible. You never quite know. A little bit of a funky time of day for this one, potentially. This might be a time we end up streaming on a Saturdays. It'll be early, very early for the Americans. Very late if we've got any Australians, New Zealanders in here. It'll be very late for them, I would imagine. Midday for us in Europe. Amy, thank you very much for the donation, saying, can you add the Fiat 500 to the game so you can run it? I sadly cannot. I don't have that power. I wish I had the power to add cars into the game. Unfortunately, I cannot magically concoct a Fiat. It's a real shame, actually, that we haven't got. We're missing a huge swathe of Italian cars from this game, which is a real shame. I don't quite know why. I presume. Well, I'm going to hazard a guess that some licensing issues has gone on as to why that might be. But it is a shame that we don't have. We don't have the Fiats. We don't have. For me, the bigger thing is the Alfa Romeos. I miss having my Alfa Romeos. So yeah, it's or even Lancia. The other big one as well. We don't have proper Lancias. So yeah, it is a shame. It is a big shame on that we do not. Unfortunately, though, yeah, I do not have that ability. What shall we start with? I'm just looking at Audis. I'm tempted. I'm not sure they're going to be any good. We could go and build my car in all of this one. Actually, no. You know what? I know what I'm going to go build up first. If we do get requests, I will try and build those. I might not be able to build all of them, but I will try and build as many as I can. There are some cars I do not have at the moment. Some of the special vehicles I haven't unlocked. I've unlocked most of them, but there are some along the way that I haven't got around to getting, so I can't quite do everything. The first car I'm going to have a go at building is a Carlton. We are going. Oh, well, no, we're not going to build a Carlton because Gliska's donated. Well, chat will like this one. Oh, Carly is here. Hello, Carly. How are you doing today? I know we've got an odd time for a stream, but we're building some cars. I will drive very fast, I will have you know. Our first request, admittedly, is for a van. I did know this one was coming from Gliska at some point. I know it's not going to be D-class by the time we're finished with it. We shall drive as quick as this van can go. This is not your traditional racing vehicle. However, we are going to try and make a van as fast as possible. I did know Gliska was going to want me to drive a van, so let's see what we can do with this. Now, the rules for this series, they've got to stay their standard driveline, so I can't convert this to all-wheel drive. It will still be a rear-wheel drive van. Now, they've got to stay with their standard engine unless the standard engine can't get to the top of A-class. Standard engine in this will not get to the top of A-class. So we have options. We have a lot of options, in fact. We have the Sandrail engine, we have a Viper engine, we have a Lamborghini engine, we have a... don't know what that's from. What engine is that, actually? 7x7 V12. Ferrari? Maybe? I don't know. We have a diesel. We won't go for the diesel. 6.2 V8 is normally a pretty good one. I think the first things first. First thing is first. We are going to... tyres. Now, better cars, grippier cars, are likely to run on semi-slicks or sport tyres even, because I know I need some power in my vehicle. I'm going to start off building this on slicks, and we might have to change depending on how this... Oh, it's TVR speed, 7.7. I thought this TVR engine was smaller than that, to be honest. I didn't realise it was that bigger an engine. Ah, cool. There we go. Learn something new every day. We are going to shove some brakes on it. We are going to, of course, give it some race suspension. We're going to try and lighten it as much as possible here, because what I'm working with here is a ridiculous vehicle. We are wanting all the handling bits first, and then we're going to see what we have left with. And honestly, I think if we're going to stand any hope, as much as I'd love to turn it into the 18 van, of course I want to turn it into the 18 van. I need downforce. I need grip. Will Alert Lado, thank you very much for the donation, saying the Vandura must have a yellow racing livery, please. Okay, we can go for this one. We can have a yellow racing liveried Vandura. That we can do. Okay, so now the real question is engine. Do we go I can't want the TVR V12. So we can't actually go the Sandrail engine. I'm fine with that. I don't really want the Sandrail engine in this. I mean, we could go the high revving V12. I'm tempted by the TVR engine just for reasons of I love that car. So I think we're going to go for the V12 Vandura, naturally. I feel like that has to be done. I don't think we're going to need superchargers. I mean, probably sound cool with superchargers on this. It will be the noisiest engine in existence, but it is going to not be turbo. Are we naturally aspirated? Well, maybe naturally aspirated. Oh, bloody truck. We are actually... Oh, okay, we do need an adjustable gearbox. That's a good point. We definitely need one of those in here. So maybe we're going to be stuck with a mere 800 horsepower. It is more powerful than the Diora that run through here. It is about the same weight as the Diora, I think. Around a similar sort of weight. Do any of you give me little bits of power? No, you don't really give me little bits of power. Jesus, the air filter on this can do 44 horsepower. Oh, you was not around. I was about to say, how much horsepower does the Lupo have? But that air filter alone is almost like a Lupo's engine's worth of power. Nearly, not quite, but still, that's ridiculous. It's actually it's going to be a bit of an awkward one to try and get it to the bloody top of the PI. It is going to be a nightmare. It's not going to go top of the PI properly, is it? I can just sense... Oh, dear, are we going to have to swap the engine out? This is a really... Oh, I guess we can get some lighter wheels. That'll help us a little bit. We're going to get annoyingly close. We are going to get annoyingly close. I mean, the wheels look very dumb. I'm not gonna lie. I want the TVR engine in this. None of these wheels look great. Well, it looks just like silly. What I would have on a race car on a van. I mean, this will drop the PI because it just makes them heavier. I think there is some element of it can adjust the sidewall flex as well, but I don't know if that does enough. I think the other option is, do you take out a little bit of weight? No, I think we've got to keep it like that if we're going to stand any chance. We put that in. Okay, I mean, that doesn't actually make a huge difference. It just makes me happier with the numbers of the PI being right. More right, basically. Yeah. Well, 800 horsepower and 4,000 pounds. It is full slicked, full aero. I don't know what this is going to do. Now, we generally have a rule. I'm not allowed to adjust the setups. I'm not allowed to adjust the camber, suspension, anti-roll bars, all of that. I am allowed to adjust the gear ratios. Ah, that's a bigger problem. Okay, no, I've got to rebuild that. I thought the engine swap would have... Why does that only have a 4-speed? I swear the engine swapped the gearbox out. We 100% have to have that gearbox then, because we need to be able to... Oh, we might not be able to have... beautiful, beautiful... Unless we go for semi-slicks, maybe... Do we reckon semi-slicks will work? Oh yeah, okay. We're gonna go Hot Wheels semi slicks. We are gonna go for Hot Wheels semi slicks on this. I mean, yeah, it's definitely gonna have to go that way. Otherwise, the gearbox will be completely useless. I am allowed to adjust it just because cars like this one here, for example, would be hitting the limiter or would be undrivable in that. Okay, I guess maybe it is the drivetrain swaps do the gearbox. I thought the engine swaps did as well, but obviously I am wrong. Now this, I mean, so gearing-wise, we can do 160. However, aero-wise is going to limit us. Now, we have got some hills to deal with, so we might be able to pick up some speed. So yeah, the aero on this is going to kind of kill it. Which is fine. That kind of works. Alright, we've got to go find... We're going to try... I don't know how I'm going to find a yellow racing livery. Crossbowman, thank you very much for the donation. Saying for the next car, I give you a choice of a 69 Charger or an E46 M3. Okay, well, actually, also, Dangerman, thank you for the donation saying you know what you must drive. I'm not actually... I know we joked about it at some point, but I can't remember what it was. Dangerman, you're going to have to give me a little bit more information. You're going to have to give us a little bit more information. Well, I mean, that's technically yellow. That is technically yellow. In terms of... I was going to go look through here and find whatever the best yellow racing livery is that I can find for the... for Lado. We could go for the South Park bus. I guess that is one way to go on this one. I quite like that. I mean, it's not really yellow, technically, but it's cool livery. The Vandura, I have no doubt, has a lot of... I mean, that's, of course... I mean, that's very yellow. We got any... I mean, of course, there's going to be a lot of 18 ones, naturally. There is some... Oh, yes, the Renault 5, of course. Okay, so we've got Renault 5, and then we're going to have a Charger or BMW, depending on what we fancy. I am tempted, but... Oh, no, we've got to get the Muppets bus for Lado. It's yellow. Let's do it. It's kind of a racing livery. So... Place your bets, oh wonderful folk of chat. What do you reckon we are going to see here? So, our current record on the course is a 1 minute 59.1, set by a 911 Sport Classic. Now, that was running on sport tyres. It was running about 400 horsepower. I've got to say, always credit where credit's due. People do some incredible stuff with the paint work. Oh god, this understeers terribly, but there we go. So yeah, 1:59.1 is the fastest time set through the course. Where do I need to go for this? It is up here. 2 minutes 2.2 was the time set by the Diora. This is a lot closer to the Diora than it is to the Porsche, in theory. But this is Forza. You genuinely never know what anything is going to happen. Now, I only get 3 runs with a vehicle. So that's it. I can only have 3 runs with the cars, which generally punishes the more difficult to drive vehicles. Otherwise, I could be here all day trying to go faster and faster. So I limit myself to 3 runs. I've got to figure out how a car works, got to figure everything out, and yeah, try and not make mistakes. As I said, it is more punishing for the difficult to drive vehicle. So if a car can be very, very fast, but it's incredibly difficult to access that speed, it might struggle in this style, or this format. Where a vehicle that's easier to drive might not quite be as ultimately fast, but if I can access it easier, I might be more likely to set a good time. This, I think, is going to be difficult to drive. I do wonder whether the water slide down here is actually going to help us pick up speed. It could do. It could. Because we know with top speed is aero limited. Now the downhill bit, the water does like pull the car along a bit. Might be able to make something work. I don't know. We will have to wait and see what we can do with this. We are off and we are underway as we head into the water. Okay, so we're well past the aero limit of the van as we're up to 170, but you can definitely tell it is not enjoying life. We have got pretty good speed through here. Ooh. Well, as soon as we get out of that water, as soon as we get also out of the banking, the van just completely runs out of any sort of steering. That's fine. We will barrel you through. Oh, God. Okay, this is very strange to drive. I'm going to say that much. It's very peculiar to drive. It has so much more grip than you expect it to. It does feel quite... I don't know how to describe this. Are we flat through there? Not quite. It's close. I mean, for a rear-wheel drive van, that's actually closer to being flat. It's about as close to being flat through that corner as the 911 Sport Classic was. So, that's not bad going for this. We will, again, the back end still wanting to step out. Yeah, I don't even know. I'm trying to think of the right words to describe the way this drives. It's very peculiar. It's like the wheels want to spin, but then don't. If it does spin them, it doesn't actually do very much about spinning them. It's very peculiar. Now, I don't know whether that is to do with tyres, whether it's to do with the way the engine's delivering the power. The TVR is notoriously savage. The engine is not normally the easiest one to work with. Come on, Vandura. I mean, it's got quite big tyres. Yeah, that might be a little bit too much wheel spin out of the vertical hairpin. That is the special, special nasty challenging corner right there to try and get the vehicle turned. We will barrel through here. It will be flat through the final corner. It's not looking great on the time. It is the first run of the vehicle, though. It's not great across the line. It's 2:04. I mean, okay, it's not the most useless of times that we could do. I don't think we're beating the Porsche. So, just writing down. I'm just keeping track of everything. I'll have to figure out how I can share the Google Doc thing so you can keep an eye on the leaderboard for those that want to. I'll sort it out after we've run it. So 2:04.4. It's not actually the worst place to start. It's not the worst place to begin with. For the Vandura. Is there more time in it? I think. Could we beat the Diora? They'll be pushing it. A couple of seconds is doable around here if we get it right. I think we've got to not spin the wheels up out of the vertical hairpin. That's going to be goal number one. It's not hard to drive, which is good. Maybe we could have gone sort of sport tyres and got a lot more power with the vehicle. But I fear it might be a little too horrific to drive. I don't know. See, this is the thing. This is not like a normal Hot Wheels course that we've got here, which is part of the challenge, because this is a lot more technical. Those Hot Wheels circuits themselves are all about power, pretty much. And this one, while you still do require power to deal with some of these corners, you also have some very slow speed sections that you don't normally find, which is why I'm running this on the semi-slicks. We will. Can I be flat through here? No, God, I really want to be. I really want to be flat through there. The van's close to making it. Back end is wanting to let go. In some ways, it actually is nicer to drive than the Porsche around this course. I was driving the Sport Classic just before I started this stream, just to remember the course and everything, because I haven't done it for a little while. And this does actually drive nicer than that 911. Through some of these twisty parts, we will try and make as much time as we can through here. See, the Porsche understeer is actually a bit more than this, because that was on sport tyres. I think it might be the weight, really, that is the hindrance with this one. Of course, we are a little bit sluggish getting going. Up this hill, for example, and then, I mean, we do have half-decent traction out of the vertical hairpin, but we're going to go for less wheel spin this time around. Come on, Vandura. You can see, it's really quite interesting to see the way the van is kind of bobbling. It's so desperate he wants to spin its wheels through there. Absolutely desperate to spin its wheels coming out of the vertical hairpin. We will run through the next corner. Here we go, towards the line. It's going to be better for the Vandura. It is. Okay, that's more like it. The Diora's in sight here. 202.9, was it 998, I think, at the end of that one. It was. Okay. I mean, it's not bad for a van. It is not bad for a van at all. Oh, can we do it? I've got to find 0.8 of a second. Where am I going to find 0.8 of a second is a good question. We took a big chunk that time around. Don't know where I'm going to find 0.8. We will definitely have a go at it. We'll definitely try it. Oh, my van has not appeared on the loading screen. That's fine. We will run through the course. Right. 800 horsepower of TVR Fury is, well, TVR Fury in a Vandura is heading to... I don't know whether this is better than... Is this better than this Ford Supervan or the XJ220 engine Transit? I'm not sure. It's certainly something. So I'm thinking stick through the water at this section because the water is actually helping us slightly, I think, get a higher top speed. We can be fairly easily through all of that. I might have ducked a little bit too low through there in trying to get a good slingshot on the exit. We'll have a little... No, I don't think I needed as bigger a tap on the brakes through there as I actually gave it. Come on, Vandura, don't slide now. We will not be flat through there. Desperately wants to slide. Yeah, it's so close to be flat. You're not going to make a big amount of lap time if you are able to be flat through that corner. It's just a good gauge of how much grip something has. A good gauge of how fast a car is going to be. If it can be flat through there, there's a little kiss on the wall. Not great for us. We will chuck it as much as we dare through that section, and then back down the gears again. All these hairpins. Not sure. We are kind of... we kind of might make it work. With slightly different lines through there, and I'm not sure they've been the best. If we can get a good exit up here, that would be helpful. Come on, Vandura. No, I don't think so. No, I'm not sure that was the best run through that vertical hairpin. I'm not even sure the best way through that corner, whether you're better off trying to take a sort of wide swing at it. We will be flat. At least we're not having to really worry about this final corner. We can just get it through the banking there, and it is a run to the line. Come on, Vandura. Oh, what was that? That was close. It was faster. We beat the Diora. Hey, let's see. That one felt worse, but was quicker. That's sometimes how it goes. We found it. We found a second at the end of that. We don't beat the 911 Sport Classic, but I'd say I'm quite pleased with that, considering it is a lot more along the lines of that Diora, most definitely. 201.8 is, I mean, not the worst. Definitely not the worst thing in the world right there. So, yeah, that's a solid run for the Vandura. The Muppets Vandura has made it across the line, and will move into a second place. Infantile Pillock, thank you very much for the donation. Something a friend of mine and I figured out is that the rally tyres are very well for A-class road racing in this game. Grip is negligible, different to semi-slicks, and they run better at high speeds. Yeah, possibly. I've experimented a little bit with some of that stuff. I mean, I wasn't intending on running this on. I was going to go for the full slicks on the van, but the power was being a little bit funky. Well, the gearbox as well needed sorting. So that's how we ended up with this way round. I don't know. I've tended to like semi-slicks for tarmac racing a lot of the time, but yeah, I say each there. I've struggled with getting car builds right sometimes, and yeah, who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll try someone right. It'll depend on PI as well for some of these, I think. Kyle, thank you for the donation. Saying, fun fact, the Speed 12 engine has a steel engine block. That sounds very TVR. Also, I request a Mercury Cyclone if it has not been run. It has not been run. I think I have one at some point. We will hopefully try and get around to... We'll try and get around to as many as I can. We are on to the Renault 5 next. This one was for Danger Man. Renault 5 Turbo. Sure, let's go grab this. Yes, don't ask me that one again. Now, what are we going to do with this? The other thing is, with this series, of course, I can't necessarily build cars in their optimum way. I'm not allowed to change their engine unless their engine isn't able to get to the top of A-class. So, there may be some engines that are better for a car, but if it can get to the top of A-class, like, for example, you might put a more powerful engine in and run it on lower-grade tyres. However, for this series, the cars have to run their standard engine if they can at all, which means this, for example, should possibly get to the top of A-class with its standard engine. I mean, not great options, actually. But it will probably be slick-tired and light. So it might struggle, because it might just be down on power. But it will be very, very grippy. Could be potentially very twitchy as well. Okay, so currently I'm expecting this to need all the handling parts, pretty much, and then when I start dumping power into the engine, we'll see where we go. Now, because we're not actually dealing with loops and so on, race suspension is going to work. We're not going to worry about it bottoming out particularly. Will this get the power? Yeah, okay, this will get the power to get to the top of A-class. I think what I'm going to want to do, actually, with this is we're going to go all the power in the world and then dial back the tyres. Because we know this is going to be down on power compared to some of the other cars. I know that's going to be the case. This is a little bit of a weird way of building a car. However, I do want to shove as much power in this as we can, and then we'll go, right, let's go and drop it back. So, let's go drop it back to the point where we fit into A-class. Ooh. Ooh. That is... That is quite something. What way? I guess we will probably want to go sport tyres then here. We're not gonna be trying. That's not sort of likely to work. I think sport tyres are gonna be the way. We might have to just go and take a little bit of power out, but that's why we did it this way around. Yeah, let's go with sport tyres for this. I might regret this choice. I'm not sure. I think we want. This is what the Sport Classic was running, and it wasn't too bad. We might be able to make it work. Also, I did just get a text from Cardi. I don't know if you heard my phone going off. Just decided to tell me that I smell. Not in stream chat or anything. Just decided to text me saying I smell. So that's very kind of her. God damn. Oh. Right, Renault. Let's dump some... Oh, we might need a gearbox, of course. That will dump us down a fair bit as well. We will probably want full gearbox. Let's go and chuck out little bits of power. So, okay, this is far lighter than we saw from the Sport Classic. So, of course, we are going to have less power. The Sport Classic was about 480 horsepower. This is lighter. So we will go with... we should go with this. I tend to stick the off-road diff. Just I like the way the off-road diff handles, which is why I tend to put it in cars. The only difference is a very slight difference between the off-road and a bunch of the different diffs, and I just prefer the way the off-road one handles in general. Also, I'm trying to. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out. TY Scomt. I'm not sure how to break that word up. But thank you very much for the donation. So I'd like to request the Falcon GT-F, if it hasn't already been. Nope, it absolutely has not, but we can definitely have a look at that one. Byron, thank you for the donation. Saying, try the CRX Mugen with drift tyres aero in the LS swap. It's hilarious. Well, I'm not allowed to change the engine in the vehicles for this one. I don't know what on earth that would... That feels like that would be a ridiculous death trap. That feels like that would be a ridiculous death trap at the end of the day. Outlaw Next Door, thank you very much indeed for the donation. There wasn't a message with it, but thank you. It is much appreciated indeed. We will go and we'll go and grab a random livery just so it's a little bit more colourful from here. All right, what do you reckon, chat? What do you reckon we're going to see out of the Renault 5, performance-wise? I reckon it could beat the Porsche, to be honest. I reckon we could see it beat the Porsche. I think it's going to be sketchy. I don't really want to run aero on the car, because I really don't want to reduce the top speed if I can help it. Because I know how, like, top speed is going to be important. Top speed is going to be really, really important right here. Danger Man reckons the 57.3. I think if it's good, that might not be. It might not be impossible to beat the Porsche. That's a fast time. That's a big gap to the Porsche. It is mid-engine. It's going to have good traction. It could. And the thing that could really help it, mid-engine out of the vertical hairpin. Although the Porsche was rear-engine, this is very light compared to the Porsche. So yeah, I've not driven very many vehicles through here. So we don't really know what we're going to be expecting. Like, you know, I've done plenty of series of building cars, and you know, when you get a good few episodes in, when you've driven 50 cars, you have a rough idea. You still get surprised, but you have a rough idea. For this, we've not had any go through, or many go through. Yeah. We shall see. I mean, yeah, Ren saying about the... I reckon the Mugen would be very... The Mugen's just a stunningly fast car. I love it. It is a really, really quick car. It could be fast. Front-wheel drive might hinder it, potentially, but I don't think so. Oh, I didn't adjust the gear ratios before going into this. I might have to do that before the next race if it is terrible. I meant to have a look. Jeez, this thing is shifting, so we're almost at... Oh, there goes the back end. Okay, so we're going to have to be dealing with oversteery Renault here. We're going to slip and slide our way through the water. It's very lively, I'll give it that. Let's get slowed down. It's considerably faster than the Vandura in a straight line, that's for sure. I mean, in theory, it should be better handling than the van. It's not on as good a compound tyres, but... it's half the weight of the Vandura, pretty much. Oh, that may be flat. This was on warmer tyres. Oh, too late on the brakes there. Okay, we've got to slow it down more for that corner. That's fine. I can work with that. It's a maybe flat. It's not the best rally pace notes I've ever heard. However, it does sum up that corner pretty well for a lot of cars. This is definitely going to be close. If you've had warmer tyres, I'd trust it more, but you've barely got it going by that stage. Get it slowed for the hairpin. You've got to be so patient through there. It really, really wants to understeer as you try and jump on the power. Now we run up the hill. Just got the vertical hairpin to go. This could be sketchy for this car if it wants to play silly buggers. This is a place where it might do some silly things. Yeah, the back end did want to kind of overtake it a little bit. I don't know whether that's... don't know whether that's the line to go for. That sort of dive to the... looks like a dive to the inside, but we are through nevertheless. It's looking fairly fast, considering I missed an entire corner on this one. The Renault 5 is across the line. It's a second place already, and it completely missed a corner. I think that is a solid start. So, sorry, I'm just writing all of these down. 201.480. It's a good start. We absolutely missed a corner. So there's definitely more pace in it than that. 2 minutes possible. 59s I think are possible as well. Considering last time, after the first run, we made 2 seconds straight away from the first run to the second run with the Vandura. This is less consistent than the van. That is the scare with this car. It is not the most consistent thing in the world to drive, and the back end will misbehave. we aren't careful. The gears are fine actually on this, I needn't have worried. It tops out about 180 or so through here, which is all good. Now, can we draw that line, but we are through at least. Get back in the water, try and accelerate it a little bit. So, we've got to try and carry good speed down here, which we did last time. Front end did stick through there. Now, God, it's so tricky. Some of these corners you wouldn't be able to take with the speed that I actually am if they weren't so banked, and you've got to really figure out what you can get away with the banking. I mean, that wasn't quite... Now, it technically wasn't flat. I kind of lifted more on the way in, but we got through it pretty well. That's a lot of understeer. Yeah, because you see, we go to this section where suddenly, because this is almost flat, suddenly there's a lot of understeer where we don't have the understeer elsewhere on the track, which is why that corner is one of the more difficult ones, one of the easiest to end up missing. Again, round here, completely flat. This next bit is very, very slow, so you're expecting some understeer. Renault wants to let go, but we gather it all up. Slow it down for this hairpin. Really wants to understeer and jump on the power. It's quite well known, I think, for being a bit understeer. You got all that weight over the back, and you're trying to get on the power there. You can give it some grief. We are all late on the brake. I mean, we do kind of straighten it up. Don't know. Still not sure whether that's the way to go on here. We never really figured out the best way through that hairpin when we were running a tournament around here. Now, final corner, easy flat out in this car, will not be a problem. And the only thing I am concerned about is the back end might want to step out on us. This is a better run. It's going to be quick for the Renault. It's not quite fast enough. It's not fast enough to go to the top. It is the quickest of the day so far. We are onto a 59.995. I mean, I'm impressed with how close this is. Considering we had some very silly vehicles. I mean, it's built very, very different to the Vandura, and it's not a million miles different. Where are we going to find time? I feel like the vertical hairpin might be where we're struggling the most in. Also, Woollalers, Blithering Idiot, thank you very much for the donation. Saying cheese! Sure! Well, just have some cheese. Why not? Also, I'd like to request the Jaguar XKXF, please. Okay, that can go onto the list. Scotty Boy, thank you very much indeed for the donation. There wasn't a message with that one, but thank you. Tis much appreciated. Proto Saber, thank you for the donation. So hope to see give the Audi TTS 2015 a try as well. That could be quite fast. We haven't had an all-wheel drive car run as of yet. And what's up? Saying a Maserati GranTurismo, please. Okay, well thank you all very much for your donations. I will try my best to get around to all the cars. We are running Renault 5 for its final pass through the course. I've got to find 2.6 seconds to get to Danger Man's estimate for this. I am not going to do that. But, yeah, let's see what we can do with this one here. So I think the water through some of this isn't the worst idea. I don't really want to get too much air time over this section. Oh, Renault, please behave. I'm so close to spinning through all of that. That was not great. I mean, it looked cool and everything. However, if you lose a little bit of speed sliding, the biggest concern is I spin it. These mid-engined cars, when the back end gets carried away, it can get really carried away, and that can cost you all sorts of time. No, I can't be flat through there. I tried it. Tried it and then immediately had to kind of back out of it. We now head into understeer central through here, past the waterfall again. Oh, so much understeer from the car. Is understeer all of a sudden, as I said, it's because you're so used to running it through the banked corners where it doesn't quite generate the same level of understeer. Right, into the twistier section. It's neat and tidy through the first part with a little dose of sliding on the exit. Now be patient with the throttle here, because I know the car wants to just plough into that outside wall. we will now use our acceleration. I mean, this is kind of trying to make the most of the lightness of the car running up this hill. It hasn't got, you know, it hasn't anywhere near the power of the Vandura, but it is considerably lighter. It is a tighter line through the hairpin. Oh, too much wheel spin on that one. That might have cost it. Just burst. I mean, I didn't want to go to first gear particularly in that section because we were definitely going to burst into wheel spin, but second we got the wheel spin as well anyway. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. 2 minute 0.629. It's slower than the previous run. I suspect a lot of that was lost at the hairpin. Not quite there. I mean, it's quick. It was a good car. A little bit sketchy in places. Yeah, little bit sketchy in places on this one. Thank you, Cass, for your input. However, it will have to settle for second on the leaderboard. It was, yeah, in the end, not quite fast enough. Well, there we go. So, option. Well, in fact, Crossbowman gave us a couple of options for that vehicle: 69 Charger or E46 M3. I mean, do we have any other muscle cars coming up? I think we have the Mercury coming up. So I mean, I say for variety's sake, you know what, chat, I will give you the option while we go. It'll only run very, very quickly. This poll, have a vote. We shall ask the community. I'm getting headbutted by a cat. Hello, Cass. Yes, let me know what you would like to see, and we will have a go with that. I will go teleport myself off to the festival. Beta Motorsport, thank you very much for the donations. How about Jensen Healy? We don't have one in the game, I don't think. We have the Austin Healy, that's what you mean. Definitely don't have any Jensens, sadly. The only thing that we have would be that. If it doesn't exist, I'll settle for an XJS. Is that in the game? Do I have the XJS? I can't remember. Possibly. Sound, thank you very much for the donation. So, Alex, please use the Napier-Railton. Well, that's death. Well, we can have a go. I don't think the XJS is in the game, I'm afraid. Unless I might not have bought one, I guess. That is always possible. Yeah. The Napier, that's going to be horrifically difficult to drive. Yeah. The brakes are terrible on that one. So that'll be an entertainment. That will be an entertainment indeed. Go away, that thing. At the moment, the poll is close. It looks like it is going to go the way of the Charger. Now, theoretically, the Dodge could be very, very fast. Big rear tyres. They're going to be lighter. Oh, what am I doing? Going to be lighter than the Vandura. Will hopefully should work on the standard engine. Double A class. Yeah. Okay. We will go and jump in into the Dodge. As while the pole is close, it will go the way of the Charger. In fact, it was getting more and more the way of the Charger the longer I left it. So, there we go. Okay. What do we want to do with this? Okay, first things first. We're going to want race brakes. We're going to want race suspension. We're going to want all of this guff. We are going to want a roll cage. We're going to want to stiffen that chassis up. We're going to want to get it as light as possible. It's just... it's just the way it has to be. Okay? It's just the way it has to be here. Now, the other things we're going to want 100% is a race gearbox, because the standard gearbox will be gear limited. We will put the diff in that we want. Now comes the important question. What do I do with tyres? We could fit it on slicks. I don't think slicks are going to be essential for this particularly. We could fit it on rallies, and we could have very, very big rally tyres on this car, which might give us the power that we need. So it saves us 20 PI going for this. and we're going to have such big tyres on the car that any traction issues should be dealt with. Because we're going to have 3 4.5s at the rear, and that's going to be critical here, and 2 7.5s at the front. So yeah, these tyres, max width rally tyres, are actually 4 PI lower than minimum width semi-slicks, which I think is a better way to go with this. We do want the track width. I mean, I'm half tempted, just because superchargers are cool. I am tempted by the supercharger. It does lose a lot of PI, and it makes us a bit heavier. So yeah, it's not. I have got weight reduction already on it. That was one of the first things we did. Down to £3,100. So we're £1,000 lighter than the Vandura, which is good news. If we stick that in, I mean, we're gonna get the power out of this. I'm going to put a supercharger. Yes, I'm going to put a supercharger on it. We're 1 PI below. I like a supercharger, okay? Superchargers are just fun. It's got to be done. I'm sorry. It has to be done. It's got to be done. I can't miss out. I can't miss out the opportunity for a supercharger. 670. So we're only 130 horsepower down on the... Okay, we can get another 10 horsepower. 10 horsepower is not changing the PI. Awesome. Okay, how much power can I get without 12 horsepower? That makes it a little bit heavier. I mean, sometimes I'm concerned when it lets me get away with this. Okay, 12 horsepower. 12 horsepower makes it a little bit heavier, but I'm fine about the couple of extra pounds. I mean, the real question is, do I run aero? So, I mean, aero would chonk away our top speed, but we're not hitting 175. Really, we run it downhill, but that is a real question. Do I run aero on it? Do we run? If we do, we will get more power in it again. We'll get a little bit more power in it, I should say. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it as much. We're up to 700 horsepower now. So we're at 710. The top speed is down, but we're not going to be ever hitting 200 miles an hour. As I said, if I was running a normal Hot Wheels circuit, I wouldn't run aero. But here, it's a very different story because of the long sweeping corners, because of the twisty bits and pieces. I think it's worth going for it because it's just constant cornering after that and not opening bar. When it's a car like this, or a car like a Renault 5 where it doesn't have the power, that's a little bit of a different story. When we've got 700 horsepower, I'm thinking we're going to go for it. And we haven't got slick tyres or anything like that, so we are a little bit on the... what's the word for it? A little bit of a dicey... This could be really fast. It could be really, I say, medium. In terms of speed. Crossbow Man, thank you for the donations, and don't forget the Dukes of Hazzard livery. I quite like the dirty Dukes of Hazzard livery that we have got going on here, which is kind of cool. So we will go for this one as long as it doesn't have the flag on the roof, which I don't know if it does. That's the only downside of these. I don't want the crappy flag on the roof of the car. Is there a way to check it? Is that okay? Yeah, it's got like I thought for a second I had the Domino's face on the roof. The Domino's. You know what? I would definitely have the Domino's. I say the Domino's logo. You can't go wrong with Domino's. That's for sure. We will go and run our Charger. So once again, play the guessing game. A wonderful chat. What do we reckon? Tie-dye is reckoning a 158.8. That seems like a I'd say a 58.8 seems like a reasonable guess. If it's going to go faster, I don't think it's going to absolutely decimate the Porsche. It's too heavy and cumbersome a car. This time I will sort out a gearbox. Thankfully, gearbox didn't really make any difference to our previous car. Danger Man reckoning a 59.2, so it'd just be slower than the Sport Classic. Yeah, so we're aero limited at 170, which is fine. So I'm happy to have a bit longer gears because we're less likely to get wheel spin with that. Yeah, Danger Man reckons a 59.2. Zav reckons a 2-minute. There seems to be a fairly good consensus so far that it's going to be around about the fast places. A couple, Zach reckoning 201, 9. I did see a couple others reckoning a little bit slow. Yeah, this could go. I say this could go either way. I am reckoning a 58 to 9 is my guess. Muscle car, like this size tyre, muscle cars tend to be quick. And it's one thing it's going to have going for it is the traction out of the vertical hairpin. We've seen how critical that is to the course. And the traction out of the vertical hairpin could come in really, really handy here. Because we've got such big rear tyres, so much bigger than anything we've raced so far. It could do it. But in the corners, well, it might have a bit more grip actually. It'll have a better compounded tyre than the Renault and the Sport Classic. We will see. And it has got aero, unlike those. We will see what our great Charger can do. I mean, I would be certainly happy to have a muscle car head to the top of the leaderboard. It feels pretty good through here, actually. Okay, we'll use the banking to get it turned, although I actually fell out of that corner a little bit. That was more on me. I let off the steering slightly, and it was a little bit too much we let off. Okay, get it down to 4. So cars are holding about 100 miles an hour through there. The Renault was holding about 100. This is holding, I think it can hold about 100. I was a little slow. That feels quick through there. Alright, get slowed. That's just slowed it down too much through that. The camera just... Looks like the camera's gone very low. We are fairly... So I had a little tap on the brakes on the way in there. I didn't need to. We're definitely... Oh, it turns in so much nicer through here. This slow section, the Charger feels good. The Charger feels very good through there. That... that should and could help. We will... Oh yeah, it's handling good. Those reckoning 56s. I say that. In the field, like the driving feel department, it feels unbelievably fast. However, that doesn't necessarily translate to lap time. Sometimes cars that feel slow are fast, sometimes cars that feel fast are slow. But this does feel good to drive so far. We have got vertical hairpin. Oh, front end does not want to cooperate into there. And I'm struggling to get the power down a little bit on the exit, although I'm not sure whether that was to do with a very poor run into that corner. Alright, here we go. Flat out through the final corner. No problems at all. Actually quite nicely balanced through there. Run up towards the line is not as quick as I thought that was going to be at all. And that is a very good example. I mean, I do think we lost some time at the... Oh, I should have put this 201.713. It beats the Vandura. It's beaten the Vandura already, which is good. Okay. Right. Places we can improve upon. We can 100% improve upon the water section. We fell out of the flume a bit and hit the wall. That'll save us a bit. We know I think the vertical hairpin is where we lost a good chunk of time. Now, I was on a slightly funky line, a bit of a funky angle going into there. So maybe we try a slightly different approach for that. It might be, though, of course, as I think as Av said, yeah, it's got a very heavy front end in this car. It might be just the way, the problem that this car will face. It feels really fast everywhere else. So I'm not sure where I'm losing time. So now can we keep it pinned? We can keep it flat through there. Again, it wants to wash up. I guess because we maybe get out of the banking a little bit there. It really wants to wash up high through that section, but it's considerably better than it was. Back end, very much on the verge of letting go. We will be flat through there as well. I think we've just got to try and make up more. We were a little slow through here last time around. Too late on the turn in there, had to have a lift. And that's okay. It definitely feels like it's running quickly through this section. I'll run it in a little bit faster this time around. Still gets turned, but we will sit and we will be a little patient through here. And can we be flat? No, not going to be flat there. Definitely get it slowed. It's a nasty corner, that one. Now, into our more technical section we go. The watery hairpin is up next. I'm going for a late apex. Clip the water. If you clip the water like that, you're not too bad. You're not too bad off. But if you hit it harder, you can get yourself into trouble. Now we run up the hill towards the hairpin. And we will try a slightly different approach. Oh, we're struggling there. I mean, it was neater and tidier this time around. We didn't waste as much time spinning the wheels, and that is something. This should be, again, this feels like a really good run from the car. I'm not saying it's going to be in terms of lap time. It felt good to drive as we blast towards the finish line. It's going to be faster, but it's not fast enough. We've had about a second in that one. 2 minute, in fact, almost exactly a second. 2 minute .796. Still doesn't beat the Renault. This does surprise me, actually. This does. I say it does surprise me. It handles so nicely. I feel like we're making up loads of time in the corners on this one. We're down to a 2 minute .7. I might be able to get it into a 59 if we get it perfect. But it's going to have to be perfect. And if it's perfect, absolutely perfect, I think a 59 is maybe doable. But it's going to be right on the limit of this one. Okay, here we go. There's a couple of the flat out. If I get the flat out left position correctly, well, the almost flat left that shall be its name. If I can get that position correctly, we can, I think, take it flat in this car. And if we can carry the speed through there and neaten it up, we can maybe make some time in all of that. So use the banking, get the car turned. It's nicely through the water section this time. It's the neatest we've had it through there. Here, see, the problem is I think this can take slightly more speed than I am taking into this corner. That's such a it's so easy to make a mistake, and this is the problem when this is the run that I say matters now. There's no room for errors, essentially. We've got to get it absolutely spot on here, and back end has just let go. Again, it's so close to being flat. The line you have to take if you want to take that flat just spits the car sideways unless you've got loads and loads of grip. The Corvette I ran here in the tournament we did a while back, that would run flat through there. But that was also a slow car in a straight line. This one here is faster than the Corvette. I mean, it's got nearly twice the power the Corvette had. But yeah, you see the trade-off. It's good through the hairpin. I mean, this feels so much nicer to drive than the Renault. It feels so much nicer to drive than that Renault 5. As we head up the hill now, we've got one more time through the vertical hairpin. I definitely think this is where we are losing a fair bit of time, is up here. Can we get through there? Nice. Yeah, it really struggles to make that corner. Now, we have gone a different line. I've tried 3 different lines through there. I am happier with that one. I'm much happier with that as a line through there. It still really struggles to get going. It still lost a lot of sort of mid-corner speed. This is better. It is better from the Charger. We're into the 59s. We beat the Renault 5 by 0.3 of a second. It will not beat the Sport Classic, though. I didn't expect, honestly, did not expect the Sport Classic to remain so firmly at the top. That will do. That will do for the Charger. We move the Dodge into second place on the leaderboard. Woo! I will take it. I will take it. Yeah, let's go have a look. Who got closest on the prediction? So we're looking for a 59.6 on this one. We had Michael Griffin was a 59.4. Blue Wolf said 59.6. Irish Wristwatch said 59.5. Bailey said 59.5. Chat, you were pretty good. You were pretty good on the predictions right there. I mean, we've had so far our top four, the four cars that we've run that have been quick. We've got one on sport tyres, the Charger's on rally tyres, the Renault's on sport tyres, and the Vandura's on semi-slicks. The Vandura is a bit weird. But yeah, chat did pretty good actually on guessing on that car. You did pretty good job of guessing for the Charger. A lot of people were close with this one. That was also a really good final run. As I said, a 59 was possible. That car had to go well. That was I'm not going to say perfect, but that was a good run. That was most definitely a good run through there, which is always nice. Now our next vehicle, I'm going to do this just in a slightly different order, just as we don't have. Well, I say we don't have two muscle cars in a row. We kind of will. Don't worry, Kyle. We will get to your Mercury, but we're going to run a Falcon up next. We'll have time to get through. We'll definitely have plenty of time to run the Mercury. Do not fear. But we are going for something a bit different in this. The Falcon, I think I have one somewhere. Hope I do. Could you sort these a little bit easier for me, game? Would have been helpful. Do I even have a Falcon? There it is. It was a GT-F. I think this is the only Falcon we have here. GT-F. Ooh, this is going to be a tough one to build. This is a lowish A-class car to start with. The problem with this is it's heavy. Now, it might suit me in the way that it drives, to a degree. It might be more like the Charger, but it hasn't got anywhere near the PI to work with that the Charger had. Now, I know that the base chassis will be good. So we're dumping the weight out of it. That uses up so much PI. What am I going to do? Tyres. I think we might have to go rallies again, I think, on this. What are the tyre widths like? 275 front, quite nice. 315 rears. 315 rears pretty good on this. Not quite as big as the Charger, but again, you've got to bear in mind, much better chassis. But what compound? So we can run sports. I might go rally. Semi-slicks, we're already over PI'd if we go semi-slicks. I'm tempted to go rally, no aero on this one. Because the rally tyres will give us the PI to get away with things like gearbox and all of that kind of guff that we do need. I think we have probably got to go. The gearbox is chomp a load of PI, but it is actually, this won't have a 4-speed, so we'll get away with a sport transmission. We do need the gearbox just in case, essentially. And then I guess we chuck power at it. I'm not going to run aero on this. I'm not going to run aero on this car. I think we have a supercharger to start with. Can't hear a supercharger whine, but superchargers are cool, so I'm always happy to be running a supercharger. And I guess we're going to run fuel rail, just 10 horsepower. Yeah, 10 horsepower, keeping PI within the A class. I think it's a good shout to be fast. Whether it's going to be fast enough, I don't know. Actually, you probably potentially could remove the rear wing, I think, on this. It might jump the P up by a massive amount. Jeez. Hold on. Okay, now look, I am no expert. Okay, I am no expert in cars, I'm no expert in aerodynamics, but that wing should not make 35 miles an hour difference to the top speed. That is ludicrous. Hold on. That makes so much difference. That makes more difference to the top speed than I think any engine part I could do. That's insanity right there. Hold on. If I just drop this back, what other engine bits did I do? I don't remember. Did I do that? So that reckons 225 miles an hour. The handling barely changed from what it was with the wing on it. Stupid game. I'm going to do that. I feel like if this now goes to the top, I feel like it's a little bit cheesy. I do feel like that's quite a lot cheesy if this now goes to the top, because that's stupendously fast in a straight line. Now, of course, I might have made a mistake here. I'm doing this because I feel like I can't miss out on that much top speed. There is a chance I'm going to have done this and it's going to handle like garbage. Although it's got really big tyres, so I wouldn't have thought... It's got big tyres and the good quality tyres. I would have thought this won't be any more oversteery than the Renault. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So yeah, now is that time, chat. Now is that time to place your votes and what you reckon this car could do. It looks silly without the rear wing, I will give you that. But I reckon a 58.5 is possible. Well, I reckon this could go fastest. That's my guess. It could be completely wrong. It could be horrific to drive. I reckon a mid 58 is going to be achievable. It's got a lot of top speed, this, so it's going to be very fast running towards the line. It could be very fast in a couple of other places. It might spin all its power away. We'll have to see. This is a little bit of a gamble build, but I feel like that's half the fun of these, you know. We are going for... I say we're trying something. I feel like it'd be remiss not to try this when it did such a big difference. Yeah. Who knows? We will find out. I mean, the plus point we have is it might not be great off the line. It does. We do immediately just drop downhill, so it kind of doesn't matter. Once we've fallen into the... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. No, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going up against Drivatars game. I thought I was going to press start event. There are no Drivatars. I'm winning easily because we're against nobody. It's a time trial. Yeah, we might struggle horribly off the... No, don't really. We are off and underway in the Ford. This is going to be the first car to crack 200 mile an hour. Ooh, although it gets a little bit sketchy in the water, that's for sure. We don't crack 200 because we are immediately into the corners. Okay, going to have to look out for that through there. I mean, it moved around a lot, but it's so rapid barreling down here. Really slow it down. It holds 100 mile an hour on the way in. Can't hold it on the exit in the same way here. It doesn't handle too badly, and that's the bit that really matters the most. Make sure it handles well enough. Now, I doubt we're going to be flat through here with this car. We will tap the brakes on the way in. No, maybe it could be, actually. It's still got pretty good grip. This is the section where it will struggle, I should imagine. It's got big front tyres, but it is quite heavy. We're not struggling with rear-end grip, though. If anything, it's more understeer. Oh, okay, we are a little bit there with some rear-end sliding. It's more the understeer on the way into the corners that it feels like it's struggling with a smidge. We will get it slowed for this twisty section. Slow. Okay, missed the apex by a mile, and now we're understeering. Okay, that wasn't great. I've no idea what any of the split times are around this circuit. So no idea if we're going quickly or not in this car. It feels... it doesn't feel too bad to drive. This is going to be the real test for the car. Don't know if first gear is really what I want through there. I don't think I quite got the line right that time out. Could have been later on the brakes, take a wider approach. We should be flat through here. I mean, if anything's going to have issues, it would be this car. It does not. We are easy flat through there. We head up towards the line. Okay. I do think there's a lot more speed in that. There is definitely... Okay. I mean, that is currently the 4th fastest time through here. I'm going to write it down. I expect to go faster than that. There's absolutely more pace in that car. Considering all of the cars we've found almost a second in the second and third runs, or more than that. And I know where we can improve upon in a couple of areas. So, it's a solid start. I think it's a solid start to work with. Let's see where this next run goes. So we're not quite going to be cracking the 200 mile an hour mark. I'm sure some cars will as we go through, perhaps. It's certainly not out of the question entirely. Some cars are going to crack 200. This one, it feels really sketchy as it's going through the water. Back end really wanting to move around. We will. Yeah, need to slow it down a little bit more through there than we have with some of the previous cars. Ended up falling out of the tube a little bit. I mean, it's so quick running through here. Down to 4th. I'm just running it into, carrying too much speed on the way into these corners. It's not really what we want to be doing. If we can avoid it again. Okay, 3rd gear through here will work. The understeer really does want to push it wide. It's so close to flat through there. Still not quite happy with it. I mean, that time there was the smallest of lifts we were getting. I mean, it's been a smidge scruffy in a couple of places here. Oh, that's slightly bad through there. It's been a smidge scruffy. We've brushed the wall that's cost us time, but not very big chunks of time. We've kind of got away with it. We wasn't really gaining time either with sort of wall riding and so on. Now, we had big understeer here last time, so I'm going to have a slightly different approach. And that does seem to have worked, at least. We've got the biggest corner on the track, both probably in terms of lap time and in terms of challenge, is coming up. What approach do we take here? Not that one. No, that's not the one. I think your best bet is diagonal it. It's a really weird line, I think, you have to take in that corner. And actually, it kind of makes sense. So the line I tried to take there was a more traditional racing line, going for kind of a late apex. The problem is when you take a line like that, you end up... I say that, ignore all of us, we've gone fastest. Bloody hell. We have a new leader on a run that wasn't really the best. To the top of the table will go the Ford Falcon, a 59.0. There is 100% more speed in that car. It's not the easiest to achieve, and this is what I said at the start. You know, there can be cars that are very fast, but if they're difficult to drive, it's difficult to extract the speed. But, yeah, so... As I said, with vertical hairpin, I always go for like a late apex, which means I've got to turn the car a long way, almost going vertically. What I want to do is diagonal it so you're not really turning it up a hill as much, so you're kind of braking up the hill, and then yeah. I know what I mean. I don't know how to explain it. I'm going to try and do it on this final run. And I think it's the way to go, because you don't want to have to be trying to turn the car at very low speed while going almost vertically upwards. Because that's when they're washing out, I think. It's kind of what I did with the Charger on the final run with that car. But this does... We have got to get everything... I can focus on that corner, but I've got to get all the other corners right. And this isn't the easiest of cars in the world to drive. We shall try our very hardest, though, with the Falcon and see what we can do. I mean, Whether taking the rear wing off was the way to go or not, I don't know, but the car is fast. Oh, it's not the first car to go very sideways through the water. The Renault 5 did that one as well. It's not great for us. I mean, of all the corners, if we do have some sliding issues, of all the corners, that's probably the one you want it to happen on. So it's a wide line. You can get away with a wide line at that corner because the banking kind of saves you. The higher line isn't the worst thing in the world there. We actually wanted third gear. I slightly lost track of what gear I was in through all of that. We're going to have a lift. The car bobbles. If I'd stayed on the throttle, we would have got a lot of oversteer through there. Getting up. I mean, this is another one of those runs that doesn't feel great. So who knows what's going to go on with it. We're on a little bit tight line through here. Be a smidge sluggish on the exit, but we are through all of that. Be a little aggressive down there on the kind of curbing. Now, so this is a kind of almost late apex line I'm trying to do at the vertical hairpin, which doesn't work. It works there because I'm not having to go really, really steep on the hill. We'll try a more diagonal approach to this one. Although if you get it wrong doing this, you end up hitting the inside wall. This not quite good enough under brakes. We will slide the car on the exit. No, it's too late under brakes doing that one. God damn it. It's a difficult one to get right, the braking zone there. I mean, this thing's probably hitting that harder and faster than any of the other cars that we've run so far. It's going to be a faster run. It is a faster run. There's definitely a better way around that vertical hairpin. It's only just, but it does get into the 58s. Just 58.994 is the time. There was definitely a couple of tenths if I hadn't run wide on the braking zone at the vertical hairpin. Definitely a couple of attempts in that one. Although, well, yeah, struggling to get it stopped for that corner, which is frustrating. But it is how it goes sometimes with these. We have a new leader. We do have a new leader. It's not by as much as we might have thought, but the Falcon has gone to the top of the table. So, what have we got next? The Mercury Cyclone. I expect this to be very much along the lines of the Charger. Here it is. Mercury Cyclone. I mean, again, it's going to be a big boat of a car. Right, let's reset the upgrades on this one. This was running a C-Class something or other. Can't remember where it was run. C-Class V8s? Probably. Yeah, okay. First things first. Tyres. I mean, the rally tyres have been doing us well. I don't know whether we go... I reckon we're going to go rally tyres and no aero on this car. We're gonna mix it up a little bit. Compared with, we're going to try a slightly different plan than what we had with the Charger. So I'm going to go rally tyres because we get such big tyres. 305s at the front, 325s at the rear. They're huge. So that's really, really good for... That should give us enough grip for this run. I love how it has a front bumper. I'm going to do the same... Okay, how much difference does it make on this? None because of the gearbox. Hold on. We will, of course, put in a race gearbox. That should be an important part of this build. We will put an off-road diff on the car. Right, so we should now have 160 mile an hour top speed without the wing. It's still the same, so I think gear limited. But I'm gonna do this as the tactic. Whether it works or not is anyone's guess. Right. And then the other important things. Brakes. We have got suspension. We have got anti-roll bars, a roll cage, anti-roll bars, and dump all the weight out of it. That puts us up to A-class. Puts us into kind of a mid-ish A-class. Then I guess we're just engine, really. Standard engine should do it. Oh, can we not Oh, we can't supercharge it. Ignore me. I might go turbos this time around. Just let's go for turbos. Let's go for slightly different. We're going for a little bit different build on this than we got from the Charger. Just try and mix it up a bit and see what we can do. We're going for lots of different engine bits upgraded rather than big ones upgraded the most. I don't know whether it really works, but sometimes we just go for different plans. We are less powerful. We're less powerful than the Dodge. We are lighter? I don't think by a huge amount, but we are lighter. We've got gearbox done first. We've got diff. I don't know whether we can fit a drive line in. No, we cannot. Can we get... no, we can't get any of that. So, look, we are less powerful than the Dodge, but the Dodge was running aero. So, this is a different theory we're going for here. The no aero didn't really seem to hinder the Falcon very much. So, you know, I'm hoping it won't hinder this too much. What does it reckon? The gears, 180. Is that gear limited or is that aero? About gear limited. But we're not going to need much more than that anyway. So yeah, 189. That should be fine. We're not going to be hitting. The Falcon wasn't hitting 200. This one. So. Let's see what this does. I am curious. I'm very curious about this one. It is, so it might be heavier than the Dodge and so on, but it does have bigger front tyres than any of them by a long way. Which, I don't quite know why this has such big front tyres, but 305s are some of the biggest front tyres you get on non-all-wheel drive cars. That's ridiculously big front tyres, and we know in Forza land, big front tyres equals very, very good for the turning. For your turn into a corner. That is a stock splitter on the front. I can't get rid of it. I would get rid of it if I could, but that's just what it comes with. So, yeah. Chat so far is reckoning a mid-59 for this. Do place your bets now as to what you reckon this car can manage to do. Mid-59 is a safe bet. I kind of agree with Tyder. I think this could be a surprise car. This feels like one with such big front tyres. This could be really, really strong. It could be really strong. It could not be. That is distinctly possible. But it does feel like it could be a really strong contender. But I don't know. I don't know. We head into the water for the first time. 180 odd miles an hour is about as fast as we've seen from anything, and it's a similar story for the Mercury. What is the grip like through here? Pretty good, actually. That I like to see. We'll dunk it in the water, a little bit more acceleration out of there. Works. Okay, get it slowed. Okay, we ran a little too hard through there. I wondered if I could get away with that amount of speed in this car. I could not. The front end really does get turned in, though. That was flat all the way through there. The back end, yeah, this is definitely a more oversteery car. The back end is really wanting to move around in this one. Oh, now we're into the kind of flat corners. Seen a lot of cars struggle with understeer. This is struggling a little bit as well, all the way through here. Still struggling to get turned in, but as I said, it's because we're so used to really steeply cambered corners you chuck the cars into, and a lot of this mid portion is just completely flat turns. Go fast on the exit there. A little bit of a funky line, but we will recover it for the watery hairpin. Right, one more corner to go. It feels quick, this car. It definitely feels like there's a lot of potential, but I said that about a lot of cars already today, and have been wrong a few times, so who knows. Especially considering we did completely miss the corner after the log flip. That diagonal, okay, there's a line there, but if I'm going to take that, I've got to brake way earlier than I think I need to, because we keep massively overshooting. Got to be earlier on the brakes there. Especially, well, we've got to be earlier on the brakes than we are being with some of these cars. Some of the high grip cars you'll get away with much later there. Yeah, okay, so, I mean, we had two big issues around that run. We missed the what's it called? The corner after the flume, whatever turn number that wants to be, and we very much completely butchered up the vertical hairpin. So there is, I mean, there's easily a second in that. Easily a second in that. How much more than that is a very good question. There's a lot more speed in it than that. I will say that much. That was a scruffy. It was a scruffy first run in two particularly. Two particular areas. It felt bigger losses of time. Elsewhere, you know, there may be little bits of time we can find, but yeah, if I can get those corners right, I reckon there's a good time in this car. We could have an immediate new leader. Although, let's not curse the commentator it. I know how good I am at that one. Right. Get you slowed through there. Oh, nope, quite right that time. I keep thinking if I'm going to hold. So what I'm doing there is I'm thinking if I keep holding the steering in the way that I'm going to get sideways and lose the back end. So I kind of let go of the steering essentially. And I end up doing a little bit too much the other way. This has also been a slightly less than ideal run. We are basically flat through there though, which is a good sign for the car. We are into the slow section now. No, that's gone wrong. I had just a sequence of little bumps on the wall, just enough to nudge us wide in a bunch of different places. And that back end is wanting to let go a lot. But I think we're probably going to see that from quite a few cars. Because we've got to have a good amount of power to make it around this course, I think the trade-off is going to be, I have to accept the car's going to be more oversteery than I would normally like. It's not horrific. It's not horrific at all. But it's just something that has to be lived with. Right, if we're going to try and do this line that I want to do here, slow it down earlier. And that's a whole lot better through the hairpin. The only downside with that is you end up having to accelerate on the very steep part, whereas if you do the late apex kind of style, you're accelerating, not having to deal with climbing the banking. Either way, you're going to lose time somewhere. There's no easy way around that hairpin. That felt faster, but we do not improve. Do we improve? Oh, we do improve by a couple of tenths. That's not by as much as I would have liked. Now, I know we were off sequence a little bit in the middle of the lap. I thought that was going to be quicker. I mean, yeah, the slow section in front of the waterfall, we were out of position and we lost time, but yeah, I mean, we lost time early on. But I felt like the first run was scruffier than that. And if we only made up 2 tenths there, I mean, we need to get a clean run. That's for sure. But yeah, it's not quite as fast. I feel like we had like the Falcon, for example. You could do a scruffy run with that car, and it was still pretty damn fast. This needs an absolutely perfect run to be, say, mediocre fast. I don't even trust it in the water like some of the other cars we've had. We will accelerate away down here. That's actually been very good through that water section this time around. At least it's better through there this time around. Now we should be flat through. We'll try to be flat through there. It has the front end grip, doesn't have the rear end grip to go with it, and again, that's the problem we've got. The front end will get turned in, the back just won't live with that. Maybe we should have kept the rear wing on it, who knows. Yeah, again, it's just not, the back's just not able to live with the amount of speed that I'm getting the front to bloody take now. Damn it, I'm trying to make the most of the front end grip that we do have in this car, but it's not really working as well as I would like it to. Come on, Mercury. I don't think this is the run. You never know. Sometimes you can pull something miraculous out of the bag, but if it does go faster, I would be impressed. We brushed the wall, but we weren't as far out of position as the only consolation kind of prize we get here. Right, vertical hairpin time. What can we do with this? Still not great. I wonder if... Yeah, you really want to get the car turned as quick as you can through there, but you've got to balance it between getting it turned quickly and actually carrying some momentum. It's a horribly difficult hairpin. It's about the same. Ugh. It was a smidge faster. It was a smidge faster, but yeah, 2, 5, 4. Well, yeah, we get a 10th in the end. It's a good car. It's a good car. It's a nice car to drive. It's just not quite... I say it's not quite there. I think I might have to overdrive it. So, without having to overdrive it, I am overdriving it maybe a little bit. It's just not quick. It's not quick enough. There is probably a high 59 in that car possible. It's definitely not beating the Falcon. For an example, there's definitely a high 59 in that one. But it is not going to be beating the Falcon. Well, there we go. The Mercury just lacked a little bit of rear end grip. Just lacked a little bit. Was unable to quite get the most out of that car. Our next contender is a curious one. So this one's from Bayern. This is CRX Mugen. So it's going to be our first front-wheel drive car. Here we go. Honda CRX Mugen. So, what are we going to see out of this thing? I don't know. So I'm not allowed to change the driveline. I'm not allowed to change the engine unless the engine can't physically get to the top of A class. This might struggle because it will be very light on power. It will be very light full stop. I think what we're going to have to do here is chonk on as much power as we can and then see where we stand on tyres. We are going to want this to have a good chunk of power. Actually, because it is so light, we might not need much more than that. I will give you a gearbox, though. You should be a 5-speed, so that should work. Off-road diff, absolutely. Now, this might have a really, really bad time at the vertical hairpin. That's the problem part. That's the bit where we might have issues being front-wheel drive. Ooh, what do we do with the tyres? 225s are very small. Yeah, see, that is the question. Do we go rally tyres? Do we go semi-slicks? Do we go sport tyres and hope? I feel like being front-wheel drive, so it's going to suck off the line. And that's one of the issues we're going to have. It's going to be such bad launch that we're going to lose a good chunk of time just on that. So do we go for... Do we go for better tyres in the hope we'll get off the line? Do we go for... Cause it will kind of matter a little bit in this. Do we go for these in the hope... I guess those are ultimately hope for top speed. I think traction's going to be most important. See, I reckon traction's going to be most important because we've got to try and get a front-wheel drive car off a vertical hairpin. And I think we're going to lose a lot of time if we don't. Now, I know the Mugen is, generally speaking, unbelievably fast in this game. So, I do expect this to go quickly. Aero on the car. I mean, it's... I don't have the PI for it. So, I guess... Oh, yeah, well, Roscoe was saying that that wing actually gives you more top speed because it's more aerodynamic than the standard one. Which is really weird. But there we go. That's the only car I've seen that. See, the aero's not really going to help me. The bits we're going to really struggle with are the low-speed stuff where the aero's going to be doing nothing. I don't think we're going to run aero on this one either. Wait, do I have a diff? I do. Do we? I think we're just going to be adding little bits of parts into the car, flywheel, drive shaft, and so on. It is the least powerful car, but it is very light. It is the lightest. Actually, it's the lightest car we've had run through here. I know how fast the Mugen is, generally speaking, so I suspect we could have a new leader. Sound reckoning 58.4. That's probably not a ridiculous sort of time, but this does rely on the traction. The traction is what concerns me most about this car. Is we've got to we've got to get the power down. The only thing I'm allowed to tune on my vehicles is the gearbox, which I don't think we really need to do much with this. 183. I mean, if it's actually a little bit longer, my gear ratios, it's probably not the worst thing in the world. It'll help me with the wheel spin in this. But yeah, the big concern is over the course of a lap, this will probably be very, very quick. But the big concern we have is I guess off the line quite nicely. I mean, for a front-wheel drive. It doesn't have astronomical levels of power. So 300 horsepower through the front wheels isn't ridiculous compared to some of the cars that I've built and driven. But it's still going to be worse off the line than everything else that's gone today. So it's how much does it lose and how much can it gain elsewhere? That is the big questions here. Yeah. Place your bets, chat. There's quite a bit of variety in this one from what I have seen. From those thinking it's going to go fastest to those thinking it's going to really struggle. And I am not sure. I reckon it might go somewhere roughly in the middle in this. It might go the low 59s, perhaps. There are two places where it's going to really struggle. Off the line, it's not too bad. Quite a long first gear, I think, is not the worst, actually. Helps us get going. The vertical hairpin is where I'm really concerned. If it's not too bad through there, we're already up to 180 miles an hour. It's seriously quick through there. Now, can we keep it pinned through that section? Just about. It's very close to being flat all the way through the water. Now, get it slowed. Fallback's carrying a lot of speed through that corner. Well, that's good news. Quite a lot of understeer on the way in there. Maybe I turned in a bit too late. Did not want to get turned through that section. Oh, come on, Mugen. These long gears are kind of helping it a little bit. We should be flat through here. Oh, no. Ugh. Okay. It was kind of flat on the way into there, and then it bobbled around, and then it was horrible, and then it wasn't flat. It was flat all the way in, and then by the exit, it had run out of grip. And we very nearly smacked the wall, but never mind. Okay, into the twisty section we go. It is really... this is only 300 horsepower. It is not really spinning the wheels up as much as I feared it might. That was a bit wide, though. Here comes perhaps the biggest test for the car. The vertical hairpin is going to be nasty, I fear. We've seen a lot of cars struggling getting the power down. The Mugen... honestly, I think the Mugen's held more speed through there than anything else. Yeah, that really didn't struggle any more than the rear-wheel drive cars. I was worried it might, but I think it just carries so much corner speed that it's not a problem. In this really high-powered front-wheel drive might struggle. This is going to be quick. It is not quite going to take the lead away, but I do believe there is more to come from that. It's a 59.4 on the first run. Okay. There is, I mean, it's not going to be the very fastest in a straight line. And that's the thing you've got to bear in mind here with this, of course. It is only 300 horsepower. And while, yes, it's light, it can accelerate well, ultimately, top-ended is going to struggle compared to some of the other cars. But, yeah, the acceleration is so strong. The acceleration is so strong in that car, which we do like. So I've got to get everything right. That's going to be, say, it's going to be the trick. And beating the Falcon is definitely plausible if I get it all correct. Chat not wanting me to go faster because they got I got their lap time prediction. He's definitely a rapid little box, this one. Okay, through the water. We can kind of turn in while we're on the water and keep the car all the way through there. It actually does work. Into the water we go again. Right, it's not quite as fast leaving the water section as we have seen from some cars. Okay, second gear doesn't work there. Because the gears were so long, I thought maybe second would, but I slightly overestimated how long second gear. Yeah, I was a little bit ambitious on my behalf, to be fair. So that's, yeah, kind of made a little bit of a mess of that, right. Yeah, we can kind of be fine. It's you kind of turn into that corner on the banking, and it drags the car into the corner, and then you leave the banking, and that's when it suddenly gets all of the understeer. So it can be flat through there. You've got to really set it up properly. This is, I don't think, going to be the run. We will keep it in third through there. Can we get away with third through that section? No, bounced it across the inside a little bit too much. Oh, nah, this is not the run. Really didn't want to turn in there at all. It was just, nope, there's no steering going on at all for that hairpin. I don't know why. I thought we would have been fine, but obviously not slowed it down enough. And one more nasty corner to go. Vertical hairpin. We are around. Don't know whether that's a way to do it either, to be honest. So that time I tried just not climbing the banking. I just tried hugging the inside. Oh, whether that works particularly well either. I think it'll be a very similar lap time or stage time to the first run. We actually go a little bit quicker that time around. 59.044. We do beat the 911 Sport Classic. Considering that was a scruffy run, well, I mean, if we'd got the corner coming out of the log flume correctly, we would have beaten the Falcon, essentially. We're only a 10th down, and we were in the wrong gear for that corner, and pretty much in the limiter. So there is definitely some more room for improvement on this one. We have got to not make any slight mistakes here. Well, I mean, he's never going to be perfect with only 3 runs on the car. However, yeah, we've got to minimise the mistakes. So we know we're quick down here. It holds good top speed in the water, about as fast as anything else. And, oh, well, that time around, we have been flat through there. Before that time around, just didn't. Don't know whether we're going quicker on the way in or quite how we got that one that wrong. Yeah, I was not expecting that level of understeer. That time around, again, we got it much better through there. Just little kisses on the wall. They just lose you that little bit of momentum that I don't really want to lose. Come on, we are flat through there. The car wants to go and burst into wheel spin through that section. Come on, Mugen, get slowed down through all of this. Slightly bit awkward in the rev range. Yeah, the big hit on through the log flume section will not have helped this run, but it's not as bad as we've had in previous runs. Do I want second gear? If I'm honest, through here, it's really awkward between second and third through a lot of that section there. Definitely want second. Really, it doesn't turn. Why does it not turn there? I don't know. It does not seem like. I feel like I'm slowing that down sensibly. I feel like I'm slowing it down more and more each time, and the front end just refuses to turn in to that corner. For the vertical hairpin, again, we hold better speed than the Mercury did. Which, I mean, by almost 10 miles an hour, we hold better speed than the Mercury through that part, which is, I mean, is good going. We've definitely turned in nice enough through the banked corner. Here we go, run to the line. I don't know, I didn't actually see what that time was from this. Oh, it's done it. That's more like it. There wasn't a perfect run either, that one. We're into the 57s now. That was, I don't know where I found the time on that run, because it didn't feel like it was really doing that. But doesn't matter what it feels like. We have we have obliterated the table pretty much. 57-8 for the Mugen. We'll take it to the top of the table. I mean, we had a pretty big smack on the wall heading through the log flume as well. It is a quick car. I mean, it always was likely to be fast. It's always likely to be a fast vehicle. We know how good the Mugen is in the game. And there we go. It is a second clear of the Falcon. It tops the table. Will anything be able to beat it? I do not know. Possibly. But it's definitely going to be a tough one to beat. It's definitely going to be a tall order to go faster than that. I mean, our next contender, I'm not sure is going to be that fast, but we shall give it a try. This one was for Blithering Idiot. They requested a Jag XK/XF. Let's go and have a look at the Jaguars somewhere over here. I mean, I technically have a little bit of choice in this as to what XK or XF we want to run, because we have a few to choose from. I mean, we can go for a race. Let's say a race car. We can go for the XKRS GT. Have no PI to work with. We could. XF is very heavy. The XKRS, we get a little more PI to play with. It's not a race car, or not a track car. Or we can go the X. Oh no, wait, they're never mind. Ignore me. I thought I had two different types. I did not. I mean, I reckon this might be the way to go. I think we might get a little bit... I think we might get a little bit more of a chance with this. I think the XFRS is too heavy. Would be they're very heavy to begin with. I know we can get weight out of them. We're going to go with this in the hope, in the theory. I think we're going rally tyres is going to be my way to go with this. Possibly our best bet for... Yeah, because we'll get some PI to play around with. The 275 is at the front, which is good. We have so little PI to work with. We've got to have the race brakes. We're going to want weight reduction if we can, which we can't really get very much of. We're going to want that. I think we're going to want these. Do I give it a roll cage? So, roll cages are good for chassis rigidity. They do genuinely make a difference. Although they're probably not going to make a much difference in this. In the old cars, absolutely. In this, I might keep it out. Because there probably are other things that need the PI. And the weight, if we can keep it away, is probably a good thing. Do I want gearbox? I'll have had... Oh, that's 4-speed. It's a drift transmission. That's why. What does it reckon? 204. I mean, that seems like about right for the gears. We might try and chuck a little bit more power. We can get 12 more horsepower in it. 20 is not going to work. We will go for that. I'm not using drift tyres because I think they're cheating, pretty much. Because they're kind of just weirdly broken, and I don't really count them as a part of the game. Because, yeah, there don't really seem to be a fair balance with them, so we're not using them. We're using conventional tyres. Can't take the wing off. Not that it would really work much here. I don't think I want aero on this car. I mean, I could run it. We'd end up losing a lot of the top speed. does the top speed really matter? I'm not sure. Could the aero be useful because the car's heavier? Maybe. The Cyclone was quite close to the Charger, and they were both similar cars built differently. The Charger with the aero did actually end up a bit faster. The aero would make it maybe more consistent, but we also didn't run aero on the Falcon, and that ran. The Mugen didn't run it either, and they're at the front. I don't think this is going to be really competing with the top of the class. Oh, also, donations. Sorry, I missed some donations that came in. I do apologise. Stinty, thank you very much for the donation. Saying, can we get a power build Elise? Oh, good God. That would 100% be a death sentence. Hopefully, if we have time, we will get a power build Elise tackle this course. King of Yaxley, thank you for the donation. Saying, turn Good Revival off for this. Much more exciting live motorsports. I mean, to be fair, I do like the Revival. It is very good fun. I will probably be watching it later on today. Yeah, the Revival is pretty cool. I mean, I'm glad you've come to watch the stream. I slightly forgot that was on this weekend, but yeah, glad you tuned in for this one. Hope you are enjoying some messing about on Horizon, building some more cars. Yeah, we've had an interesting session so far. Some cars have gone quick. Well, there's been no massive, crazy big surprises. The Falcon's probably the biggest. Falcon was good for what it is. The Mugen, I mean, has a very big lead at the moment. It is a second clear. The Mugen's 57.8 is a second clear. I think this Jag is going to be too heavy. As I would generally be agreeing with chat, maybe a high 59 is where we're going to see with this. I think it's going to be too heavy. I think it's going to struggle with traction. I don't think it's going to be undrivable. I don't think it's going to be awful. But I do think that's the way round it's going to go with this car. I think it's just going to... I think it's just going to struggle to carry the corner speed. It should be fast in a straight line, which could help it. But let's see what maybe this will be able to surprise us. As I said, sometimes some weird results can get thrown off. I mean, this will sound fantastic. There is no doubt about it. How fast can we get in the water? It's 180 for the Jag. I don't think we're going to be flat through here in this car. We are not. About 150 miles an hour on the exit isn't too bad. And it is quick accelerating through the rest of the water section, at least. Okay, we went to a slightly lower speed through that section than some of the cars. It's good to know it'll hold, though, a decent chunk of speed through all of that. Okay, it doesn't handle too badly. It doesn't feel too heavy, which is a good thing for me. It doesn't feel like it's a heavy car. Back end wants to step out all the way through there, unsurprisingly. We will kind of coast a little bit into there. But yeah, it does start feeling a little bit sluggish when we get into the flat section here. Can't do much about it, is to be expected. A few cars have so far today, so no big surprise on the Jag. It's definitely not bad. Well, it doesn't feel bad at all. Got that corner a little bit chunky. Now, can we actually get this turned in here? The Mugen really didn't feel like it wanted to turn in. So this feels a bit better through there. I'd maybe take a slightly different line. Took a very wide approach with the Jag. Felt quick through there. We're now climbing up the hill. We've got the vertical hairpin to go. We might, much like the Charger, didn't really like this section. Oh, that will not do it any good. Okay, I tried a little bit different, and it didn't work. It's definitely not the line to take. I tried to be neater and tidier and sort of hug the inside almost. But if you bump the inside, you're already at such low speeds on a near vertical piece of track. Yeah, that's not going to work. Okay. I mean, we probably lost half a second, three-quarters of a second at least, just on that part, just bumping that inside wall. So vertical hairpin was absolutely garbage. There is way more time to come from that car. I'm just writing it down. So it was a 2-minute 0.979 on our first attempt, but we hit the wall and we lost some time through there. It's probably the best sounding car we've had so far. I would say. This is definitely up there as the best sounding car that we have run. So let's go and restart this. Let's run it again. I reckon the guesses of mid 59-ish areas, I think, are where we're going to where we're going to see from this. If I can get everything right, we will get this one launched and underway. The thing is, it does feel quick, and I'm finding it very difficult to judge speed on this course. I don't know whether it's just a trait of this course or what it is. It feels very difficult to judge how fast these cars are going. That's a big slide through there. It wasn't as big a slide as some. Didn't really want the sliding about. We got to get out of the water there. Alright. Third gear is nice. Yeah, nice enough through that section. Can we be flat all the way through here? Not quite. It's very close to being flat, but won't quite do it. We should have the power and torque to get away with third gear, actually, on the exit there. Don't need to bother fighting with second. Ooh! Hey! We got it flat through there. It's a slightly different line, but if it works, it works. Went out into past the waterfall for a second time. Struggling a little bit with understeer here. Everything has. It's going to wash out a bit wide. Now try and carry as much momentum as we dare into the watery hairpins. Actually, the third gear is actually working pretty good for this. We don't get wheel spin. We can kind of just sit around here. Second gear will work for the exit of this one. Weirdly, it feels nicer. It feels nicer to drive than a lot of other cars that have gone. It might not be the fastest, but it does feel a lot nicer to drive as we head to the vertical hairpin. This time around, much better from the Jag. Struggles a little bit. We will get the power down. I think the rally tyre. I think these are the right tyres to go for, really, with the car. It's definitely got more than enough traction. It's just, I think it's going to be just a little too heavy, maybe. That being said, though, we've had a good run here. It's not going to be enough. It's not. That doesn't make any sense to me. That felt like a so much better run. We made a 10th. Where the hell was I losing time in that one? I don't actually know where I was losing time in that one. Where on earth did I lose time there? Maybe I did need second gear. But I would just be in the limiter if I put it down to second for that. For a lot of that. Felt as good through the vertical hairpin as any of the other cars did. That's a bit of a mystery. I think, yeah, I do think it is too heavy. Is probably going to be the issue with this. But yeah, I don't know. I know where we lost as much time because we only gained a 10th, despite the vertical hairpin being clearly much better that time around. So I can understand it not being, fighting with the Falcon, for example. I'm just not quite sure where we lost it elsewhere around that. I mean, we did slide through here, I guess. This run here, a lot better through there. If we try to... I mean, you want to be in the water for the downhill section, but I think you might want to get out of the water for the further down parts of that. Who knows? Really. Okay, third gear through that works. Second's just not going to work through this part. It's just going to be straight in the limiter. Oh, we got a little bit. I had to have a tiny lift because we started getting some understeer creeping in. Might turn in a bit too soon there. It was almost glorious. I do have to wait to get on the throttle, but it's like the worst car I've had for understeer through that section. We'll run a little bit wider through here, get on the power. There we go. It's nicely enough through all of that. Okay, now aggressive. Well, I mean, the bounce is a little bit unfortunate. Was fairly aggressive on the curbing there. Late-ish apex seems to work for that climb. I think maybe here is where we're struggling. Because it's so heavy, just going up this hill might be what scuppers the Jag slightly. That could be its problem. and up to the vertical hairpin we go. It's neat enough. Spin the wheels a little bit getting going. I think it's as good as it's going to really get through there. We have got one more corner to go for the Jag. I mean, I liked this car a lot. It's been a nice car to drive. We can't fault it in terms of the driving. Is it going to be a better run, though? It is going to be better. Much better from the Jag. That's more like it. Whew. Goes into third. We found a very big chunk of time from that in that run. That I'm happy with. That was a lot more. That was the sort of time I felt the car was capable of. I don't know what I did in the previous run. That was a much, much better run for the car there. Yeah, pleased with that. Very pleased with that. Was not quite expecting that after the first two runs. But we got it. We got it. 59.077. That is a lot quicker than I... Well, I'll say a lot quicker than I was expecting. Yeah, we had a very good run through the water section that time around. I think that's as good as we were going to get in the vertical hairpin, to be honest, for that part of the track. I'm actually really impressed with that car because we had so little PI to play with. It's quite heavy. Admittedly, it's probably more. It is more along the lines of the Falcon in some ways, in sort of PI and a little less to play with than the Falcon. But that is some good going. That is some good going for the Jag. It moves into third. That's probably one of the biggest, I'd say the biggest surprise. After the first two runs, that's one of the biggest surprises with what it made up. Our next car is going to be an interesting one here. Proto Saber, thank you for the donation from a while back, was asking for the 2015 Audi TT. Now, this is going to be our first all-wheel drive car in this series. So cars are going to be run, here it is, TTS Coupe. Cars are running the standard driveline, so I'm not allowed to change them. But if they come as all-wheel drive to start with, then they come as, I can use this. Downsides is all-wheel drive will probably chew up some more PI. So it won't maybe have as much PI to play with, and the traction is only really going to help it in a couple of places, but it could help it a lot on that vertical hairpin. So that's where it could be very, very important. I mean, do we go rally? Rally tyres have done us good so far. Or do I go sport tyres and throw more power in it? Because we have got fairly big front tyres. 285s at the front is nice. This doesn't have a body kit. I don't know why I thought it might do. I mean, yeah, so far the top three... no, the Mugen was on semi-slicks, wasn't it, I think? The Falcon and the Jag were on rally tyres, and the Porsche was on sport tyres. Yeah, I mean, the real question for this is quite what level of tyre do we go for? I mean, the sport tyres are only a... sport tyre, the PI difference isn't much. It's only... Yeah, I actually think... I think the rally tyres are worth it for that. For such a small amount of PI difference on that, I think that's where we're going to have... That's where we're going to go. We definitely want brakes. We definitely want all the handling bits we can get. I don't think there's much question about that here. Do I want a roll cage? It's not actually that heavy. It's got a good chassis, but we'll take a bunch of weight out. Oh, now again, the question is, do we go... do we go full weight reduction? Or do we go sport weight reduction and then throw power at it? I think maybe throwing power at it is the way to go. Possibly. I'm not sure on that. Which one of these doesn't... Oh, they both chew up a similar amount of PI. I don't know if I want aero on this car. I mean, aero's not been all that helpful so far. So I don't know. I don't know if it's really going to help this one much. It's going to take up 20 mile an hour top speed. I know top speed isn't critical, of course, for this stage as such, but I don't think it's going to give us enough grip to be worth it. I think we're just going to chuck power in it and see what we can do from here. It's just not going to have very much power is the issue. Okay, so if we're sat here, to chuck power in it, we're probably only going to get about 30 more horsepower. Oh, no, okay, we've got a little bit more than that. It's not going to be very much, though. It's not going to be really enough, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, the all-wheel drive might save it at the hairpin. I think that's where the lap time is going to come from in this car. I think that's where we're going to get. If we're going to win with this, that's where it's going to come from. I think we're going to be too slow everywhere else though to really be able to make the most of it. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong about cars before. I think we're going to struggle there. However, yeah, I don't know. We will give it a try. I'm going to have a garage full of weird and wonderful cars that are really specifically built. Well, it's not even like they're specifically built for something. They're kind of built roughly as we try to figure out what works best on this kind of hill climb stage. Okay. What do we reckon, chat? Place your bets. Place your bets. What are we going to see in terms of a runtime for this car? Bearing in mind, our fastest vehicle so far is the CRX Mugen, a 57.8. Our slowest car is the Diora, that's a 2-minute 2. The Vandura was at a 2-minute 1.8. Although they're silly cars. The Cyclone is a 2-minute 0.2 for probably the slowest of the vaguely sensible cars. I am allowed to adjust the gearbox. I don't think this is going to need much, really. Nah, that seems about right. 192 mile an hour top speed is reasonable. We're not going to be hitting that, of course. But if we can get about 180 down the water chute, that's what matters. If we can hold that, that's what we've been seeing from everything else. Chat is reckoning this is going to be fast. I'm not. I think this is going to sit in the mid-59. I don't think it's going to be that, but I could be very wrong. You never know. You never know at all with these vehicles. Yeah, if it beats the Falcon, I'd be really impressed. I'd be a surprise. If it beats the Mugen, I mean that would be out of nowhere. Really, it doesn't have an all-wheel drive to compare it to, is what makes it difficult. So we will gain some time. We'll gain some time on the launch to a degree, but we don't have the power to really make the most of it. I think it was a 205. I should probably give up building cars. We are about as quick as everything else through the water. That's good to know. Can we be... Okay, that actually holds a lot of speed through there. That is quite impressive how much speed that will take through there. I don't know whether I want the outside line. Jeez, that's got some grip through that corner. We ended up below the 100 mile an hour mark on the exit, but this has got way more grip than I was expecting it to have. This is so much more grip on rally tires than I thought it was going to. That has surprised me. Are we flat through there? Yes, but with a load of opposite lock. Oh, okay, too fast. Too fast. That was my bad. We got a bit carried away. A bit carried away with how much grip it has felt like it's had so far. Now, see, it's all very well me saying that. It does feel like it's very grippy, but it might well be losing out with a lack of power, because this is one of the least powerful cars we've had. It doesn't have that much more power than the Mugen and is over 1,000 pounds heavier, so that is the issue with it. Now, oh, too much understeer there. The acceleration just will not be that of the Mugen. Power to weight ratio is all sorts of wonky. We should launch off this corner well, but mid-quarter speed's still going to be low here, I would expect. But it's that launch there. There's just no wheel spin at all. It just grips and goes. That could be what makes the difference for this car. We will have to wait and see what this is going to do. I'm going to be curious about this first run because we had a very big mistake. Well, not the worst mistake. Jeez, this thing is... it's shifting. It came around that final corner, but the top speed is the problem. 59.3 is its first, so we know there's more to come from that car. I don't think it's beating the Mugen. I don't think that's beating the Mugen. FD9, 344. It's good. It's definitely a good car. It's not. I don't think it's a 57 good. However, if we can get the slow speed mid portion of the lap right, that's where we're going to make up our lap time. I mean, I think a 58 is should be definitely achievable with this car if we don't beans it up. The vertical hairpin, so the acceleration off that corner is definitely going to be a good gain. Now let's try and get this corner right here. So I don't really want to bother going back to 5th. No need. That feels rapid through there. I don't know whether I really want to dunk it in the water there or whether I actually want to stick out wide in this car. Okay, stick down to 4th. Turn in. We actually carry good speed out there. We kept the speed above 100 pretty much the whole way through that. It was on the wider line using the banking more, but it did work. This has got pretty short gear ratios. Struggle a little bit with understeer there, which is not quite what we wanted. It should be flat through there, although it gets... Oh, that's a funny one to get right through that part. Okay, we're a little bit wide on the first part. We'll kind of coast it through this... Well, okay, coast it a little bit through the middle of that second part. It's kind of a bit nowhere through here. This is probably where we lose the lap time of smidge. Struggling a touch with understeer as we head towards the watery hairpin now. We did just about get the checkpoint. That was cutting it very fine. Okay, lots of fire from the exhaust. That was also cutting it very fine as well. Now a risk has been played. This, I think, is where we so struggle for power. This is where the time ebbs away from us. Really struggles climbing this bit. But as we jump on the power here, there's just no wheel spin. There's just all traction and it goes. It's definitely an interesting choice of car. It being so far down on power, well, not so far, but yeah, power to weight ratio on this is not great. Which means when we get to the steep climbs, it does struggle, and I think that's going to be what costs us. Don't think that was faster that time around. It wasn't. 59.578 is a couple of tenths down there. Yeah. I think we lost it jumping around the watery hairpin. I think we didn't really want to jump those corners as much. I'm not sure there's a crazy amount more I can do with that car. If I get it perfect, I think a 58 is doable. But it has to be absolutely spot on, and I can't afford to overdrive the car. This is the final run. I mean, again, I've said this plenty of times, and then suddenly you find a second without realising quite where it came from. Maybe we can do that on this run. We will have to wait and see. So, we turned it a bit too late through there. Although the Mugen got away with that actually as well. So there we go. We will try. I don't think it really makes much difference there. Which one you go for? Carries pretty good quarter speed though, all the way through there. We are flat through that part. Eve wants to have her say. Hello, Evie. How are you doing? Have you just woken up from your afternoon nap? I think you have. Right. Flat through there, no problem at all. It's the first car that's been comfortably flat through that corner, and consistently comfortably flat through there. We will the understeer just dragging a little bit wide, try and get on the power as soon as we can. This is sort of a weird, almost double apex corner, kind of missed the first apex a little bit to set it up for the exit. Felt quick that time around, so not going to jump it as much. Don't want to get airborne, don't want to lose time with the wheels in the air. We do want second gear through here because we know we're not going to be able to carry it. That's such a deceptively nasty hairpin we've got going on. It's not as nasty as the vertical one, but it's almost up there. It's a more sensible corner, but it is still tough. Alright, here we go. On to the most ridiculous corner on the track. In fact, I can literally just jump on the throttle immediately there. I don't have to be anywhere near as patient as I do with the other cars. So, I mean, all-wheel drive is going to be quicker around here for that reason alone. The real question is, will the all-wheel drive just eats up so much PI, will they ever get enough power? It's better, much better. That's more like it. Told you could do 58. It's not a huge jump forward. It is... Oh, that just beats the Falcon. But we are talking by less than 1/10 of a second. The Audi moves into second place. A 58.944. Will take it. Yeah. Into second. Beats the Falcon by 5/100ths, sorry, of a second. Yeah, pleased with that run. Pleased with that run on that one. We are still a second off of the Mugen, to be expected. But moving into second is a good job for a car that is so clearly down on power. There is just not the horsepower in that one. But, yeah, to be expected. The all-wheel drive traction does help it somewhere. Right, Maserati GranTurismo is our next car. This is a lot more along the lines of the Jag. I think the GranTurismo does have a bit more PI to play with. Yes, it does. But it's a sort of similar Grand Tourer heavyweight. What to do with this one? I think, okay, step one is handling. We know it's going to need all of this. And definitely we're going to try and get it as light as possible. I think on this one, it's because even when it's down here, it's still going to be heavy. It's still going to be quite a weighty car. Tyre widths are going to be important. 275 at the front is good. 325 on the back is also good. What tyre compounds? Ooh. I guess you have to be rally. I don't like semi-slicks give us so little PI for any more power. I think it's got to be those. I say sadly. It just seems to be the way to go with this. It gives us a bit more power than the semi-slicks, while still giving us enough grip. I mean, the sport tyres are the other option, but there's only 4 PI difference. That actually gives us better handling. The handling stat is technically better as well. The the braking's better on the sport tyre, but the actual physical handling is better on those. That's interesting. I think I'm going to want the handling. While braking is important, there's only really a couple of very big braking zones here. So that is I've never actually paid that much. I've never paid that much attention to the stats like that. It's curious. This will have an alright gear ratio to start with, so we'll do that. We'll stick in the diff. Now, these are normally good. The centrifugal superchargers are normally a strong choice for upgrading the cars. They're quite good, sort of quite PI effective from what I remember. So I'm going to go for a centrifugal, and then we're going to try and... I always tend to do exhaust because you can save a good bit of weight. That tends to be what we go for. And we'll stick in an air filter, and then we'll throw in a flywheel and maybe a driveline along the way as well. If we can, we can. Fantastic stuff. We're even going to clutch, save some weight. Okay. I mean, by potential, feels good. It feels good. Sound, the Railton is up next. So, the Railton will be the next car that runs. We will have time for that one, unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong. So we'll probably go horribly wrong trying to drive a Railton, but it will be run next. What do we reckon about the Maserati here, folks? I don't want aero on the car. Aero's not been particularly effective so far, so I don't really feel like we're gonna... I feel like this is following in the footsteps of the Jag. It's probably not going to need the aero any more than the Jag did. I reckon we're going to see... I mean, I reckon 59.3 maybe. Let's just check the gear ratios. It's a bit long. We can kind of shorten those a smidge. 201 miles an hour. We're never going to hit 201. But that should work for us. It's not too bad. Is averaging 2 minutes? 59.3 I could see working. 58.2 I think is ambitious. it'd be nice if it did. I love Maseratis in general. As I've said in a previous stream, I don't know how many people were there for that one. I have told Carly that if I go to buy a Maserati, she has to stop me because they will drain your bank account. But it doesn't stop me from liking them. I do still like them. I do like the GranTurismo. I love the Quattroporte. They might not be the best thing in the world to buy, but yeah, it doesn't stop me from actually liking the cars. I would love to see this do well. I have seen these go quick in Horizon games before. I've never been able to build a good one myself. I have seen good ones. I've seen fast ones before, but mine have never been that good. We will see. We will see how this one does. I think it's going to be very similar to the Jag in its performance. I think it's going to probably be a little too sluggish, a little too heavy maybe. But you never know. You never know with these. If it's got the handling, oh, it doesn't like the water. I'll tell you that much. That was very iffy. About 180 again into the water. We are okay. We're a bit sketchy through there. We have got the power. We've got a decent amount of power. We're going to leave here at about 170, as a lot of cars have done. Okay, so we need fourth gear through that corner, and we'll hold fourth all the way through there. That's no problem. Back end is pretty nicely planted, actually. Okay. Are we flat through here? Yes. I say no issues. Back end moves about a little bit. However, that is actually promising. This definitely has got the handling over the Jag. Not by a crazy amount, but the front end is turning in better. The back end is stuck, I think, a little bit better. Okay, we do not... Second gear might have worked through there. It's actually quite well behaved car. Into the watery hairpin we head. Got to really slow it down for that. Back end gets a little bit excited through there. How do we do on... Oh, not very fast up here, though. This is the downside. Okay, yes, we have more power than some of the cars that have run previously, but it is quite heavy. Around the hairpin we go. Now, we can't jump on the throttle like we could with the Audi, although it gets sorted pretty well. Now, one more corner to go. We're easy flat out through here. We don't have to worry about that. We have got to run to the line. How are we looking time-wise? It's looking decent enough. Nothing special from the Maserati. 59.7, I believe it was, at the end of that. Okay, solid start for the GranTurismo. I'm just typing onto the old Google Docs that I meant to sort out. Haven't, because I've been, not a 95, no, a 59.761. That's an 8.1. God damn it. Can't type. I had mentioned that I was typing. I've typed all the other ones fine. I mentioned I'm typing and it goes to crap. Right. It's a fairly solid start. A fairly solid start for the car. There's a bit more speed to be found from that, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's basically like the Jag. It's a good start. I think we might get it much like with the Jag, a 59.0-ish, if I get a really good run. Although that felt like faster than a 59.7. It just seems to be, after the watery hairpin, that bit of the track, this just seemed to die. It seemed quite quick elsewhere, but really didn't seem to like that section. So we will have to wait and see. Or does not like getting airtime over there, most definitely. Or I did not feel comfortable getting that airtime, but we have made it stick. Felt quick through that way around. Right, down to 4th. Chucked it in with maybe a bit too much speed, although it kind of shrugs off speed through the corner there. It did do the trick. Little too wide there. Little too brave. Oh, I turned in a smidge too soon. That part there. Okay. We can try and make time up elsewhere. Oh, hey! Did not want to lift, but it put me all out of shape through here. God damn it. It was flat. It was 100% flat through there. I didn't lift, but we were about a millimetre away from skewering it in the outside wall, and I should have lifted, because by holding it flat, we actually put ourselves out too wide for the next corner, like in a really wonky approach for the next corner. So, I mean, it's good to know the car can do it. However, it just wasn't a good idea actually to do it, as it will mess you up further down the line. That's a decent run out of the watery hairpin, at least, and then it just dies accelerating up here. I don't actually think it's much faster accelerating up here than the Audi was, to be honest. It's just a similar amount of struggle. One more, I say, big braking zone to go around the vertical hairpin. It's not bad there. So one of the rear-wheel drive cars, I mean, most of them have been rear-wheel drive, of course. It's definitely one of the better for traction there. One of the much better for traction, which is saying something, especially with muscle cars on their big tyres. What are we going to do? It's not going to be... it's not going to be terrible. I know where we lost it on that one. I know where we lost it. I know where we can improve, but we have got to improve. Final run with the Maserati. No mistakes. No silly errors. Nothing like high pressure runs going on here. Oh, and we've got a squawky Cass. Oh, no. No, it was a yawny Cass. I thought it was about to squawk at me. No, he just had a big yawn. Have you been having a sleep, buddy? I should probably focus on the driving now. Not the distracto cat that's wandered into the office. Right, we're definitely going to put it down to 5th. It does not have the grip to get away with 6th all the way through that corner. So we're better off just running it in 5th through there, getting it sort of composed. And we'll chuck it in with some speed through there. Seems to work. Seems to be quite nice for this car. It's not a terrible start. Okay, that's, yeah. It's all neat enough through there. 3rd gear, can get on the power and the exit here. Now we know we can be flat through here, but it can sometimes drag us a little bit far wide. Doesn't drag us as far wide this time around. It is neater for us here. Don't want to brush the wall if we can help it. On the power as soon as we dare for this exit. Don't really pay any attention to the first part of this corner. Focus on the exit. A little wide this time about. Not great for us, but we are through. Don't really want to get the air time, although it's not as bigger abouts as some cars have got. I'm not sure this is going to work. However, it's something. It's not been crashy. It's just maybe not quite been perfectly on the apex in a couple of corners. Could have been worse. We've got the vertical to go. Maserati, find some traction. We do. Only just, but we do get the exit. If this isn't faster, I'm not sure I've got much more to give. I could maybe see where there's a 10th or 2 at the very most. And it feels like it's been a fairly clean run for the car. It's not faster. No. Maybe it was a little too clean a run. Maybe we didn't quite push it as hard as we needed to in a couple of places. 2-minute point 3. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's rare that the first run is the fastest with the car. I think we went backwards overall in all of that. Oh, 59.7. It's only a 7th place for the Maserati. It beats the Renault 5, but loses out to the Charger. Yeah, it just wasn't... I just couldn't seem to get any of the speed out of that one. It didn't feel bad. It didn't feel bad at all to drive. Felt consistent at least. Just couldn't extract much more than that from it, really. So there we go. The Maserati has to settle for being fairly comprehensively beaten by the Jag. Well, we are on to possibly our final car of the stream. We'll have to see. This one is going to be silly. This one, if this doesn't come last, I'll be amazed. However, Sound asked for the Napier-Railton, which is the classic 1930s race car that doesn't have any front brakes to start with. Thankfully, we will add some front brakes to it. I mean, I have a lot of concerns about this. I'm not gonna lie. There are a million concerns. I feel like slick tyres are going to be essential if I'm going to survive. Okay, good things about this car. It does have okay sized front tyres compared to some of the classic race cars. I mean, we've got to do this. We absolutely have to do that. I mean, okay, the standard engine is cool and everything. I don't know whether it's actually going to get to the top of the PI. We're going to throw as much weight off of it as we can. But that's not going to be enough to really help it. I don't think. Gearbox, yes please. We're probably going to want to do something with that. And we're definitely going to want a diff. And then we have a panic. You can't even swap the engine in the Railton. Ah. Well, that's an issue. Can we even get it into A-class? Tyres. I haven't done tyres. That would explain why. That's fine. Right. The conundrum. I mean, I feel like this is going to be such a difficult thing to drive. I feel like semi-slicks or maybe even full slicks are necessary. I mean, it's going to be kicking out a lot of power. It's so much weight, though, is the problem. I feel like the semi-slicks are going to be the way to go. Because I think it's going to be so horrifically tough to drive. I mean, that's the point of this. Like, I know this is going to be difficult to drive. If you're just tuning in to the stream, welcome. Welcome to me. We're building a silly car. We've built some sensible cars so far. This is the first really, really silly vehicle that has tackled the course. The difficult thing with this is, I know it's going to be bad in the corners. I think the only place we could make up some tyres... So the reason I'm going semi-slicks, not full slicks, is it's going to be bad in the corners, whatever I do. Maybe with a bit more power, we can make up some lap time pulling it up the hill. I feel like that's probably not going to work, but I do think it's going to be worth a try. So we're one of the more powerful cars that we've run today. It is up there with the likes of the Vandura and the Charger in terms of power. I mean, big concerns. Braking is a big issue. I mean, I guess we might as well leave the gears like that. Long gears, probably not the worst thing in the world. Something's gearing out. That's weird. Braking is going to be a concern. Now, I have got the race brakes, which means we will at least have some front braking. Cass and Eve are fighting over a box. Admittedly, this is a cardboard box that's been in my office for months at this point. They both wanted to sleep in it at various points. Oh, the engine's the laziest engine in the world. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, we have front brakes at least. That's something. Lazy, lazy engine. A million gear shifts might have to go on. If this isn't last, then I will be astounded. I don't think I can't make the gears any longer. That's just how they are. Which is going to be in 4th, 5th, and 6th the whole way through. That should work, at least. Unless, I guess the only other thing is, can I put in like a 7-speed or something? That might give us a slight better chance if it doesn't eat all of my PI. Let's go have a look. No, it doesn't. I might normally wouldn't go for these, but I actually think it's not using any of the PI. So I think maybe do this. Hopefully extend the ratios out. Why is it such a bad... I feel like I'm going to break this if I try and do this, because I don't really know what I'm doing. We're just kind of moving all of these along a bit and sort of hoping. Yes, I know, we've got to extend these a bit. Extend these a bit. Yeah, come on. Extend these out. I want some long... Well, that's maybe a little bit too long, but I do want some longer gear ratios going on here. 195, that's more like it. Screw it, that's close enough. I don't ever go into... I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't really care as long as it's vaguely usable. That's the thing that matters. We'll leave it with this standard racing livery. So, the current last place vehicle in this is the Hot Wheels Diora vehicle, a 202.2. Lots of twos in the in its stage time. That is the slowest car. If this isn't slowest, I would be astounded. It might not be. I think the engine might be its undoing. I don't think the handling is going to be its undoing. We will see. We will see. I think it's going to end up running in like 5th gear most of the time. But it does have enough torque. It has a huge amount of torque, this, and let's face it, for a lot of it we're running a lot of the actual high speed stuff we're downhill. And as long as we've got the torque to climb the hill. Yeah, maybe the mountain of torque will be great for getting up to the vertical hairpin, and it's going to be awful trying to get off it. I think a 58.1 is brave. Gotta guess. I don't think it's doing that. I don't think it's getting any... I don't think it's getting under the 2-minute mark, and I really don't. I could be wrong, of course, but I would be very surprised if it did. We will just go through the gears early on and get it going. I mean, it's going to have moments of being quick. That is for sure. It should have a high top speed down here, or relatively high top speed down here. 180 miles an hour is about what we've been seeing from most of the cars. Actually holds good speed through there, which I am impressed with. We're not quite as quick. It's a couple of miles an hour down through this section. Now, can we maintain? That is actually pretty good going, although the back end's just immediately let go. It's very difficult to hear this engine. It's incredibly quiet, which is not what you expect from a car like this, to have a quiet engine, but there we go. We will not be flat through here. No, although it doesn't, it slides. But I mean, the thing is, we've got semi-slicks on this, so we actually have a good tyre compound compared to quite a few vehicles. So, theory, it might not be... It's not as bad to drive through these corners as it could be. And then we have the 1,400 torque to pull it up a hill somewhere. Hopefully, will be good up this next section. I mean, mid-corner speed is a little bit down on some of these cars. I actually don't think this is going to be last. I could be wrong, of course, because I've got no real frame of reference in terms of the time. What is the speed like going up here? It's definitely faster than some of the cars we've seen climbing here, which is good. I mean, this is where we're hoping we might make some time up. Right, to the vertical hairpin we go. Struggles to get turned. It does put its power down fairly well. I was expecting a lot more wheel spin, actually, coming off of that. It got a little bit, but it could have been way worse. We are into the final corner. It's definitely not setting a record here, but it's not too shabby. From the Railton, it isn't last. In fact, it's going to beat the Vandura. It does indeed beat the Vandura here. 201.4. I reckon it might even get into the 2 minutes. It's not as ridiculous to drive, you know. It is really not as ridiculous to drive as I thought it was going to, and as chat's guesswork currently was, with two 16s and two 12s. It's not that bad. I think the semi-slicks save it a bit, because it can use its power. a little bit. It can put its power down. It can get going on the most part out of these corners. So it's not completely terrible. I don't know if I've got too much more speed. I say not too much more speed. I think maybe in 2 minutes is doable with it if I can get it all right, which is easier said than done. We definitely lose a little bit through here, for an example. This next corner, we hold it pretty. Yeah, I mean, we hold pretty good speed. We do lose a little smidge. Again, we're a little slower here, but we're only talking like a mile an hour or two down. We held 5th gear through there. We do quite nicely actually for the rail. I'm really struggling with the engine being so quiet in this car. Oh, that was a big slide though. That I was a little too brave through that section. I mean, it was worth a go, I think, to see what it could do. It's actually quite close to being flat that time around. We will be back down to 4th gear through here. Yeah, I mean, the back end is going to want to step out. Of course it is. In these corners, there's so much torque, so much power. It's going to want to slide a little bit. But considering it's only got 245s and it's a very old chassis, it is doing surprisingly well. Again, we're on the very limits of grip all the way through that corner. Missed it. Ah, it's the first car. We've got nearly 3 hours into the stream, but it's the first car. I got too greedy. I got too greedy on that one, trying to go for a sneaky line through the hairpin. Just anything to try and make some lap time. It was going to happen eventually. I guess it makes sense it's the Railton that we end up having problem with. Only thing is now, of course, we have the even more high-pressure final run to go with this car. Because, yeah, this is not a good run. Well, it was a good run up until that point. It was a good run up until that point, and now it's all done. Ooh. There's a lot riding on the final run if we're going to want to get a slightly more impressed. I am more impressed with this car than I thought I would be. Well, there's a 210 for those that were guessing that. Okay. Final run for the Railton. What can we do with this car? Nothing like that old high pressure runs here. I do want this. I'd love this car to do well. I like how the silly cars do surprisingly well. There is some time to be found. Got to not miss a checkpoint. Got to not get too greedy with this as we go through the gears. Now we know we're a little sketchy through here. The car's going to slide a smidge. Oh, it gripped up halfway through that corner. That is really horrible. We somehow saved it and kept it out of the wall. I don't quite know how we managed that one, but all is good. 4th gear through there. We get a good exit at least. Now, last lap around, we carried... Ooh, it's a little bit of a drift tap going on through there. We did ever so slightly bump the inside wall. We bumped the inside wall. I didn't really feel like we actually did bump it. I felt like there was a little bit of hitbox weirdness going on, but never mind. Right, back down to 4th we go for the way in here. Cass is giving us his best cheerleading impression going on. I don't know whether you would have heard it. Yeah, 4th gear seems to work through there for the most part. Right, down a gear for our next part, and again we're going to have to... I don't actually know if we really do need to go to 3rd here. There's so much torque in this, and the gears are so wacky here. We will want 3rd for this part. Just struggle a little bit to get stopped. Trying to straighten it up for the exit. Here we go, on the climb now. It's not the best run through there, but we have the power and the torque to get it going nicely. Just the vertical hairpin left. It's not been as horrific through here as it could have been, all things considered with what sort of car it is. And it's neat. I don't know whether it's the right line through there, though. Bit less wheel spin than we've seen from some cars, to be fair, actually. Again, this is such a weird car. I expected the Railton to be all sorts of weird, wacky and horrible, but it's not really turned out to be that. It is quite heavy, which might be the problem. We got it into the 2 minutes. I mean, we saved not quite a second, but it was a decent amount of improvement there for the Railton. It was expected to be a silly car, and it really wasn't. 2 minutes 796 for the Railton is, I mean, it's a respectable time, honestly. It's not that far off the Mercury. About half a second off that Mercury Cyclone there. I would say that is fairly respectable for this car. It really wasn't quite as ridiculously silly as it could have been. I mean, maybe I would have been better off on the rally tyres. Maybe I should have gone that way and got more power in it to try and make up make the most of the power and the torque. Go for making up its lap time top speed wise. I would have then made it more difficult to drive and everything. I was expecting that to be a lot lairier even on semi-slicks. I was expecting that to be a lot tougher, and we did not quite see that, which is yeah, a pleasant surprise. I think it's because it's so heavy, would be my guess with this, because it's 4,000 pounds. That is a big old chunk of weight. Oh, and there's a Cass in a box. Cass, that box is barely big enough for you. Why were you fighting over such a small box? Silly cat. Yeah, there. I say there we go. Will Streamlabs let me do this? Don't know if it is going to. Yes, should be able to. Let me do this. If we go do, aha! There we go. Look at this. If you want to have a look at the leaderboard from today, here we go. We can put the leaderboard up on the screen. It is the Mugen that leads the way in all of this from the Audi TT. Falcon clings on to the podium spots. It's all very, very close together. The Jag will sit in fourth. Tell you what, the 911 Sport Classic, for the car that was built at the very start of this series, car that was running sport tyres, a weird combination of bits, that Sport Classic has actually held on quite nicely, quite well, because it is very, very close between the Audi and the Porsche. It's only like a tenth of a second. So that is some good going. The Charger sits in sixth ahead of the Maserati. Maserati was a bit weird. It felt quick, but there wasn't actually much speed in that. The Renault was a bit twitchy and a bit dangerous. Sits in eighth ahead of the Mercury. The Railton manages to beat the Vandura, which is, like I say, a good showing. A good showing from this Railton. I really did not expect to see the Railton going that fast. We then have that Vandura with a TVR V12. Not sure I went the right way with the build on the Vandura particularly. However, it will sit in 11th, while the Hot Wheels Diora will sit in 12th and last. Not that much behind the Vandura, but there we go. Yeah, I like the Railton. It was always fun to see what the weird cars do in this series. I mean, that's the point of these series. What makes these series fun is you have the cars that are competing for the top spots, and then you have the entertaining cars that are a bit wacky, and you see how those wacky cars compare against sensible cars, and sometimes you get silly results. Don't think we've had anything really crazy today in all of this. I think any results are massively out of position, other than maybe the Railton being half competitive is probably the biggest shock of all of it, to be honest with you. But there we go. That is going to be it for today's stream. I hope you have enjoyed this one, something a little bit different. We may well see some more Saturday streams along the way. Potentially as a little bit of a new schedule of mine, so to speak. We may well see some more of these car builds on a Saturday. We may see some Wreckfest, we may see other bits and pieces on a Saturday. So yeah, I will be back streaming tomorrow, potentially. Back with some GTA 5, I suspect. Possible plans might change and everything, but I should be back tomorrow with some GTA 5 as well. So I hope you'll be able to join for that stream where there will be the usual amount of chaos, basically. Oh, Cash, you've got out of the box, and now you are sitting, judging everything. No, you're trying to look out the window. Sure, you can do that if you would like. There are dogs walking past. That's what you're staring at, of course. But yes, I will hopefully be back tomorrow for some more GTA 5 nonsense. So hopefully we'll see you there. Of course, thank you all very much for watching. A big thank you to everyone who donated. Oh, actually, I missed out. Turnip Gaming, I do apologise. Thank you for the donation. Saying good afternoon, Alex. I hope you're doing well. I have a car request. Sadly, we almost got around everything. So I'm afraid I missed out a couple. Car request was for a 2018 Audi RS5. I do have the DLC. And that would... Yeah, that would maybe give the TT a run for its money up there. The all-wheel drives were not a bad shout. I apologise to miss that. Yeah, sorry to those I didn't quite get around. I almost got all the cars built today, but I have got to go now. Yeah, we may well come back for some more of these builds. I'm sure we will at some point in the coming weeks. See if anything can beat that Mugen. I think it's going to be tough to beat. It's definitely going to be tough to beat. But yeah, that is going to be it from me. Thank you all, of course, very much for watching. Until next time, though, goodbye.